This is Monty in the Morning, the show Phoenix Magazine readers voted #1 talk radio show in Arizona.
#1 during your morning commute.
#1 whenever news breaks during your day.
And #1 whenever and wherever you want to talk sports.
Now it's time for Monty in the Morning.
Hey, yo, man, how the heck are you? It is the Monty Show, presented by The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business are The Advocates. You never pay a consultation fee. You never pay a big retainer. In fact, you don't pay The Advocates until they win your case. And the coolest part is you can chat with an attorney 24/7 at theadvocates.com. And to all of our friends in Phoenix, that's right, they opened their office in Phoenix now. You too have access to the best injury attorneys in the business at theadvocates.com. A lot to get to today. Boy, did Oregon have a day yesterday in the early signing period. But here's a question for you. When you look at college football, is the early signing period now dominated by NIL and the portal? And do we need to do away with it? Is NIL and the transfer portal good for college football? Here's the thing. We don't need the early signing period. We don't need National Signing Day anymore. Let's have National Signing Day be every day. That's what you need in college football. And the issue really yesterday that we saw as the early signing period kicked off is we saw Oregon flip major recruit after major recruit away from other programs and into Eugene. And it's a bidding war now. And I wonder, Jake, is that good for college football? Because my inclination is to say this bidding war that is erupted in high school recruiting, specifically high school recruiting, I think is terrible for college football.
Well, I'm not ready to say that it's terrible for college football. I think that there are pros and cons for sure. I do think that there's this sense of hey, like it's the Wild West right now. I do think that's happening 100%. I think that you're basically saying, hey, my money bag is bigger than dude over here. Come play for me. Like that kind of feels like what it is right now. But, you know, you're still hearing kids say, like, I chose this school because of the way it felt and the way it looked. And, you know, like yesterday, Logan Fano on the show saying that, you know, he chose to transfer because he felt like that gave him a better path to go to the league. Like, these kids have their reasons, but I think the money, obviously, for some of these kids is the dominant factor. And I think people get really uncomfortable. People don't like that the student athlete is making a bunch of money. And I'm here to tell you, these are not student athletes. These are professional athletes, dude, who happen to have to get A grades to keep playing football for a year or 2 years or 3 years, right? Like, it's football, then it's grades. And by the way, there's a whole staff of people who help them get those grades. So to me, I hate that we have this whole thing about, well, these guys shouldn't be getting paid, or these guys, you know, we shouldn't have bidding wars, or we shouldn't have, you know, it shouldn't be, you know, NIL shouldn't be about the money. And it's like, it is about the money. That's the essence of NIL, allowing these guys who put their body on the line every week, who sacrifice so much physically, to get paid, because not everybody goes to the league. Do we have to like say that almost every day? I feel like not all these guys are going to the NFL. So I'm a big advocate for it. I say, hey, while you can strap it up and put the pads on and get out there and hit guys and do your thing, I hope that you can make some money on that. Like making $100,000 as a college football player for a couple of years, that's pretty awesome money before you have to go, you know, to Adobe and work the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So to me, yeah, are there some negatives to it? Does it need to be reeled in a little bit? Sure, a little bit, but I don't think it's bad to be bidding over these kids or paying these kids, certainly, because I think they need it.
I don't think it's bad to pay kids. What I think happens is this situation with Oregon. Like if you look at the flipping that Oregon did, and you look at the fact that, oh, by the way, they only finished 13th in the country. Mm-hmm. Oregon had, inarguably, its best class ever. It's not close. But you look at some of the names on this list, and you look at the fact that they flipped kids from, let's say, Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
You flip a kid from Notre Dame, on the last day. You're doing that, in my opinion, you are doing that by paying them. And that, to me, is a problem. I mean, to flip Navosad from Baylor in the final hours before this kid's going to sign a national letter of intent, that's a problem for me.
Why?
Because I don't think it's ethical to say, oh, well, hey, you know what? We didn't get any other quarterback in the country. We'll pay you $1,000 more a week than Baylor was going to pay you. Like, to me, that's just not.
But why?
That's not ethical.
Why is that in a world that is capitalistic, right? Like our country is built on capitalism. Why is it that we don't like this at the college level? Is it because they're, quote, student athletes?
No, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the fact that Phil Knight has more money than Booster in, Virginia, or Booster in Los Angeles, or you're buying your team now. And if we're going to do that, if that's how we're going to recruit kids out of high school, let's just do away with amateur stuff. Let's just do away with having to go to school and call it AAA football, because that's truly what it is. And the frustrating part for me is that I feel like the kid always comes second. Nobody thinks about what happens, because just because you're a 5-star recruit doesn't make you an NFL talent. It does not. Where you go to school has just as much to do with, and this is my opinion, with your development. Like, your path to the NFL is directly related to who is coaching you in college. There's no doubt about that. And when you look at Jackson State yesterday, and you look at who is going to Colorado because of Deion Sanders,
yeah,
and you see that Travis Hunter, the number 1 recruit in the country last year, who went to Jackson State and is now going to Colorado, he's just following the paycheck, man. Nobody's thinking about what happens if that kid doesn't make it in the Pac-12. What happens if that kid never plays it down in the NFL?
But what happens to the kid if he never plays, right? Because I think it's a great point. If he never plays and he doesn't make it in the Pac-12, wouldn't you rather, like, I would rather have the kid at least make the money. Like, I'd rather have the kid at least benefit from that. Like, because before NIL was a thing, what was the path? Well, I got to have the grades, and then I got to build a relationship with the coach, and I got, you have to do these.
It used to matter that you set your life up for after college. That used to matter. That's what nobody talks about. Nobody wants to talk about all the kids every single year on National Signing Day who never play a down of college football. Nobody wants to talk about the kid that gets hurt. And this is really the crux of my argument. You have, and it is largely, underachieving kids academically who are on the line of getting into a school, and they get in because they're a football player.
Right.
And they don't have something to fall back on because they're not able to compete academically at Stanford or Oregon or UCLA or USC. They're not able to compete academically at Utah and BYU, but they're there, they're playing football, and then when their football days are over, now what? Like the guys who delivered my Bowflex, my Peloton tread, were former football players in the state of Utah, and they never went anywhere. And now they're delivering Peloton treadmills and setting them up. And the one guy couldn't even kneel down because his back is bad from playing football. That's what I think about on days like National Signing Day. I think about the kid who didn't get an education because he wasn't able to compete academically, should have never been there. And I'm not trying to rain on everybody's parade. I'm truly not. And I know that I'm being Danny Downer right now and negative Nathan and all that stuff.
I guess my question just is, like, I completely get where you're coming from, and I empathize with the guys who have this huge announcement on National Signing Day and, like, hey, I'm this huge deal. And then, 3 years later, you find out they're delivering Peloton treads. Like, how does that even happen? Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a thing that happened to them that made them take a left turn that wasn't what they expected. But I guess my thing just is like, if that left turn is going to happen, I'd rather this kid have pocketed 150 G's, let's say, over 2 or 3 years or whatever the timeline is. Because I agree. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the kid who's got a bad back and can't function. Nobody talks about the fact that, these kids can barely scrape by on a C average, right? We talked all about one of the conversations we had, I think it was like a month ago, we talked about the fact that with the Pac-12 and USC and UCLA leaving, George Kliavkoff made this big deal about how, student athletes, and they're not going to have study time and travel. And it's like, dude, there are whole teams in place to make sure that these kids get the grades they need to get. So the question for me in this conversation is, okay, if this kid is able to be a big enough deal to have National Signing Day, I have to think there's a way for them to get by academically. And the tough part is, it is true. Some of these kids have no business being at Oregon, right? I can say myself, I have no business being in Oregon. I am not that smart, right? I have no business being at Stanford. I'm not that smart, right? I know my lane. I'm not a football player, though. I'm not trying to get to the league. So it kind of puts these kids in a tough situation. But I just come back to like, all right, cool. Like if that's the reality of the situation, I guess I'd rather them get paid than not get paid, but it's kind of this tough thing. Like every kid's story is different. So I guess where I come down on it is I'd rather them have the money if they're going to be the guy that hurt his back and is delivering treads 3 years from now,
Yeah, now that we're done being virtuous about ethics and whatnot in college sports, I just think that when I look at Oregon this year, I say, hey, they outcompeted everybody. And now when you look at the money that's being thrown around, the SCs, does Utah have any ability to compete with Colorado at this point? Does Utah have any ability to compete with certainly Oregon, USC, UCLA, for however long they're in the conference? Does Utah have the ability to compete with those schools? I would tell you they don't. And Utah had a fantastic class, 4th in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all well and good. But you look at what Oregon did, flipping like Peyton Bowen from Notre Dame was a huge, huge flip. Peyton Bowen is a safety that is a stud. And you look at some of they took kids from Ohio State. They took a kid from USC. They took a kid that's been committed to LSU since May. That's money. That's what that is. That's Uncle Phil stepping up with a box of Jordans full of $1,000 bills.
But I feel like that's the world we live in. If you take a step back and we get out of college athletics, I very much feel like that's the world we live in. We live in a world where if you have money, you're the guy. If you don't have money, you're not the guy. And that's the tough part.
Right, but that doesn't make it a good thing. That doesn't mean that it's a good thing.
Yeah.
To me, you have to rein in the guys who are running around with their revolvers and their 10-gallon hats and just spraying money all over the street to get the best kid to come to Oregon.
Uh-huh.
I think if a kid is, in my opinion, if a kid is committed to a school, you shouldn't be able to reach out to him. You look at what the UTSA coach was talking about. I think it was UTSA.
Yeah, it was.
Was talking about how all these other schools were coming in and poaching their players. That's what the money has done to the game. I think there needs to be reform.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Now, having said that, Oregon by far, and it wasn't close, absolutely positively dominated the Pac-12. But one of the other conversations I think we need to have today is where is the Pac-12 in national recruiting? Because I think when I look at the composites and I look at who is what and where and how all this played out, boy, I don't think that you can go very far without recognizing that Alabama and Georgia and Texas A&M and Ohio State and Texas and Penn State and Notre Dame and Oklahoma, the true blue bloods of college football, still dominate college football.
Yep.
And if you look at Oregon, the top team in the Pac-12 is 13th in the country.
Yeah, to put things into perspective.
Behind LSU, North Carolina, and Clemson. And if you ask Dabo Swinney,
Right.
Dabo got a whole lot of help from the dude upstairs.
Get through it. And I mean, for me, we built this program on NIL. We really did. And it's probably different than what you're thinking, though. We built this program in God's name, image, and likeness. And that's how I look at it.
What do you think of that?
Program.
What do you think of that?
Dabo is hilarious, number one, for saying that. I think it's terrible, but I think it's hilarious. Number two, I think that Dabo at Clemson is try-hard guy because he's been able, when Trevor Lawrence was there, he was able to get to the college football playoff and do some things, and now you haven't been the same team. But now you want to stand up there and say that you built your team in God's name, image, and likeness, and that you're holier than thou, when clearly you're not holier than thou. Your money bag just is kind of deep.
Yeah. I think that when I look at, and this is just my opinion, I think Dabo Swinney is that guy. I think Dabo Swinney is that guy that wants to tell you Jesus Christ recruited
in God's name, image, and likeness.
And not, like Jesus Christ recruited that safety to Clemson.
And that's how I look at it.
We built this program on
program.
Bro. Like it's Dabo Swinney is an ambulance chaser.
Yeah, totally.
And don't get me wrong. I like Dabo. I've interviewed him a million times. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
But this, to me, this is just so far over the top.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
We
get
it.
So wait, let me get this right. When your defensive tackle in the college football playoff, Dexter Lawrence, had his little suspension, did Jesus Christ put the needle in his arm, or was that you?
In God's name, image, and likeness.
It's college football. Trust me when I say college football programs are not run like a church. They're run like a prison.
Program.
Right? It's not this is so, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is classic Dabo.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second. The guy is just so awkward.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just he ambulance chaser. It's a perfect way to describe him.
That's exactly what he is.
Yeah, because Dabo's going to disappear for 10 minutes, and then he's going to come back, and he's going to mention God, and we're holier than thou, and everything's amazing, and then they're still going to get their ass beat by Nick Saban in the SEC. So, to me, it's like, it was incredible. It was funny, but it is classic Dabo.
But, by the way, to bring this back home, did anybody notice where BYU finished in the composite of the 12 teams that will make up the Big 12? They finished 10th. They had a pretty good class, right? They had a pretty good class. They finished number 2 among independents, only behind my R&We, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Right.
And they still finished 10th out of the 12 teams that will make up the Big 12. That's how steep the hill is.
Yeah.
And you look at that, they have one 4-star recruit, no 5s.
Right.
And they have a bunch of great 3s. And again, I will also tell you, just out in front here, I don't believe in 3s, 4s, and 5s. And you can play football and we can see the developmental cycle for you, or we can't. Like there are so many programs that recruit 3-star guys and turn them into 5-star NFL players. It's beyond comprehension.
Right.
Having said that, like, your top recruits are not going. They're not going to BYU yet. And that's going to be something that you're going to have to fix.
Well, and I wonder what the hierarchy at BYU thinks of NIL and the money bag and the Wild West. Like, you have to be that way to win right now, because we can sit here and talk about regulation and reeling things in and making sure that Buddy and his bag of money aren't walking down Main Street just shooting the coupon gun everywhere. But that's what it is. That's what it is. So to me, the only question really is, hey, are you about it or are you not? And I don't know. Like, clearly BYU did a pretty good job. right? Utah did a phenomenal job. But in comparison to other schools, it's just kind of it's not like, well, you did what Oregon did.
But by the way, the good news is another Kaufusi is coming to BYU.
Well,
so you feel good about that you still have a Kaufusi in the program. But in all seriousness, you look at the names, on this list, and you quickly realize that this is a team that, like Jackson Bowers is a really good tight end, from Mesa, Arizona.
Yeah.
He is by far your best prospect in this class, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's a kid that I think can play right away. Now, Isaac Rex is coming back, but that's a really good recruit for them.
Yeah, well, and I think that this whole thing around Jaren also matters in recruiting, because if you're not going to have a good quarterback situation, that's going to hurt your ability to recruit. But if Jaren is indeed coming back, that's probably helping you get kids from Arizona or California or hell, even Florida, if you're really trying to work hard, so that's why I say at some point we need the Twitter post saying that Jaren's coming back.
Well, but I also think you look at a kid like Ryder Burton from Springville. I mean, that's a kid that projects to be a starting quarterback at BYU, but so did Jacob Conover. And I think it's interesting, this Keaton Slovis story at BYU, where Keaton Slovis has apparently said, yeah, I'd like to come to BYU, but you haven't heard anything, because I think they know that Jaren Hall's coming back. And I think overwhelmingly, if without doubt, if Jaren Hall comes back, Keaton Slovis isn't coming to Provo.
Right.
That makes absolutely no sense.
Facts.
So you need the portal and you need recruiting to get you quarterback depth. But if you look at positionally how BYU ends up yesterday, it's overwhelmingly offense. And, Siali Esera from Timpview, I think, is a huge get, because you have got to find a way to get after the quarterback on this team. You are, in my opinion, two things about edge rushers in college football. It's a quick route to the NFL, but they're awfully difficult to find. And the last couple of years, BYU has not had a premier edge rusher that can get to the quarterback, and it's really hurt their defense.
Well, and I don't think you've also had a DC that's willing to send guys to the quarterback, right? And I think that change with Jay Hill is going to be very noticeable. And I think that's why you're going to see athletes added to this defense. I mean, you need to have guys that can play multiple positions, that you need to have that defensive end that's not the big lumbering defensive end, but the guy that can play defensive end or maybe a little outside linebacker too, depending on the situation and what kind of scheme you're running. So to me, I think that Jay Hill has talked a lot about, hey, we're going to be an aggressive defense. And that's why you're seeing them add guys like that who are top end athletes who maybe need some development, but clearly you can see the path.
Yeah, and I also think if you look at, and this is just historically anyway, when you look at the way that these teams are put together now, it's transfer portal. I mean, it is the transfer portal, in my opinion, is far more important than NIL money in recruiting. That NIL money, in my opinion, needs to be overwhelmingly spent on the transfer portal, because when you are BYU or Utah, you have to win in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
There's just no doubt about that. And I think you're seeing BYU winning running backs in the transfer portal is a big flipping deal. That's a big deal, because you have to find a way to restock your running back room. You have to find a way to do that, and you got to find a way to keep them healthy.
Yeah.
But I think specifically for this period in time, I think you got to get rid of the early signing day. I just don't know why you need National Signing Day. I don't know why you need it.
I don't think it's a
It
neat
makes
thing.
no sense.
I just think it's what they've always done, and so they just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's many things that can be reformed. I mean, obviously the college football playoff setup has been reformed a little bit. I think things like National Signing Day can be eliminated now if you're going to continue down this path of NIL and transfer portal. Like, because the truth is, these kids are already signed. It's just not official until they put ink to paper. But I don't know. A lot of me feels like this is all just, it's very gimmicky out of college football. It's very like game playing, behind the scenes, backroom stuff, and so we get to just see, oh, this kid signed there and that kid signed there, and Dabo gets to talk about God, and you know what I mean? Like, and so I think if you're going to reform college football, it just there needs to be more structure added and more guidelines that need to be created. And by the way, enforcement is really all that matters, because you can create all this stuff, but you don't have enforcement. Who really cares?
By the way, let's switch gears and talk Utah recruiting real quick, because I think this class is spectacular. I think what Kyle Whittingham and company did up on the Hill for National Signing Day or Early Signing Day, whatever you want to call it, is nothing short of spectacular. And if you look at their, from Spencer Fano, who, obviously we had Logan on the show yesterday, and they talked about wanting to play together. He's a Timpview kid. He's an offensive lineman, and he is absolutely a monster. And I think that's huge. I think the Hunter Clegg signing out of American Fork, he's an edge rusher. That's a guy that went to Utah because he wants to play in the NFL, just like Logan talked about yesterday on the show. They develop edge rushers at Utah. And I think getting Hunter Clegg on paper is huge. I think getting CJ Blocker out of Texas, the corner, is a massive, massive get for this because now you're becoming a pipeline of DBs as well. And I think you look at some of the DBs that they got. Smith Snowden, obviously from Lehigh, is a huge get. You add him with Blocker. You add him with just so many of these kids. And I know I'm going to butcher his name. I practiced it last night. I can't say it correctly, but the Fano Imoana, Brock Fano Imoana,
pretty good. That's pretty good.
Safety out of Hawaii, I think, is a huge get for them. Hawaii. I just look at what they put together defensively, and I don't know how you could have done better than Utah did. And that's not even the transfer portal.
Right.
That's just signing day.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know how they continue to do it. That your top two signees are offensive tackles, prospects at tackle, is unbelievable. And they're both 4-star tackles. And the dichotomy, again, and I think this matters, the dichotomy of location. When you look at Provo, Gilbert, American Fork, Texas, Kansas, California, Dejon Stanley out of California, Florida for Michael Mitchell, the running back. Again, Snowden from Lehigh, Mission Viejo, Corona, Sonora, Hawaii, Texas, Idaho, Mississippi, again, Hawaii, Las Vegas, Florida. Utah's got national reach now. And it's why this team is winning back-to-back Pac-12 championships. It's why this team is now starting to compete at the top of the conference on a regular basis. And then you look at Logan Fano coming in, and you have a lot of expectations for this defense to pick up right where they left off. I think this was an absolute positive, dominate kind of mentality out of Utah.
Yeah.
In recruiting, and the transfer portal has been very good to them as well. I mean, this was absolutely a win in the state of Utah for Utah.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you want, and I think that, as usual, Kyle Whittingham does it flying under the radar, and he has his way about it. But I there's no other way to say it. They did a great job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's as simple as it is.
Yeah. By the way, I also want to touch back on a story we talked about last week here on the Monty Show. Mitch Harper last night.
Yeah.
Interesting tweet.
Uh-huh.
Did you happen to see what Mitch Harper tweeted? That the Royal Blue Collective is coming to BYU.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
And that you're going to wear that drop out. It's just so uncomfortable.
And that's how I look at it.
It's just so uncomfortable. But the Royal Blue Collective is coming to BYU, as we talked about last week. You can check my Twitter. We tweeted over the weekend about the fact that this collective was going to have a baseline war chest of $2.4 million, and that every football player was going to earn $30,000 a year from the Royal. I was told it was the Royal Collective, whatever they're going to call it. But this collective is coming to BYU, and I think it's a big deal when you look at NIL collectives. $30,000 isn't nothing to a high school kid. I think when you can say to a kid, hey, you're getting a minimum of $30,000 here, that's a big get. That's a big win for BYU. And BYU has for as fast as they got out of the blocks in the NIL game, they've really struggled, in my opinion, to keep that going. And if this Royal Collective is able to really drive that forward, and what it is, it's a group of donors and supporters, boosters of the BYU athletic program, and it is across the program, that are going to put money into a pot to support BYU athletics. And that's exactly what you need, because you're losing guys like the Fano brothers. If the Fano brothers knew they were getting $30,000 each per season, it's probably a little more difficult to transfer to Utah. I don't know what they're getting at Utah. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that it's significant.
Yeah.
It is significant. So, I think the NIL game and the transfer portal game at BYU's been significant. I mean, you lost, you lost two big names, including Clark Barrington, who committed to Baylor yesterday. You lost Campbell Barrington. You lost
I think the
Keenan
portal.
Peely,
The portal has just made this whole thing where it used to be before the transfer portal and NIL were linked and became prolific like this, that every year you'd always have attrition. You'd always have turnover. That's the nature of the beast.
Yes.
Whether it's college football, a business, whatever, there's always attrition and turnover. But now it's obviously been taken to another level. And so I feel like it's forced BYU's hand a bit, because we've told you that BYU's mid-level money machine department is struggling. There are certain issues, there are certain dysfunctions that are not allowing them to be productive, and that is basically holding back what they can do in certain areas.
Well, when you see guys like Keenan Peely going to Tennessee, and you see the Barringtons going to BYU, and you look at some of the places that, these kids are going, whether it's Tate Romney and Jacob Conover going to Arizona State, whether it's Dallin Holker being a complete fool, in my opinion, going to Colorado State, Logan Fano's going to Utah. Again, Keenan Peely is going to Tennessee.
Yeah.
You look at where these kids are going. They're not going to Poughkeepsie State. They're leaving BYU. Keenan Peely is a stud. He's leaving BYU to go play in the SEC.
It's Division I football!
You're losing these guys. You're losing the Barringtons, who you're going to now see in the Big 12, to Baylor. Right? Why are they leaving? How much are they getting? I mean, that's the stuff that we need to find out now. And again, if you're just tuning in, Max Tooley is going to join us 2 hours from right now on the Monty Show. He announced last night that he is in fact staying in Provo.
Yeah.
And that's a big boost for the linebackers, even though, again, I tell you, Max Tooley's a safety. We'll talk to him about Jay Hill, but we'll talk to him about, did he explore the transfer portal? Was that something that he looked at? Because I think it is a really fascinating question about whether or not he had options.
I wonder what Max Tooley thinks of the transfer portal, just generally speaking. I mean, if you're a football player right now, if you're Max Tooley, a stud linebacker, probably a safety at the NFL level, what do you think of the transfer portal? So if the transfer portal is as real as it is BYU still the proper route? Well, for Max, clearly it is, right? Because he chose to stay. But for the Barrington brothers, it wasn't. And from some of these other guys, it wasn't. So that's what I find so interesting. And to our conversation earlier, I don't think enough people ask these kids this question. Where are you at on the transfer portal, generally speaking? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it ruining football? Is it the best thing that's ever happened? That's what I'm curious about, how your average or above average guy thinks of it.
Well, we'll ask Max Tooley about that at 8:30. All of our college football talk, including BYU and Utah, presented by our friends at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. We are just 3 days away from Christmas now, friends. No better place to finish off those stocking stuffers or Christmas shopping than at Barbecue Pit Stop in Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. Jeezy. Down in the St. George area.
By the way, we're seeing some people at Jack in the Box tomorrow. Just saying.
Nice. They're also in Salt Lake City and Murray on State Street, right across from the mall. I'm telling you, you're a customer for life when you walk into a barbecue pit stop because they're just good dudes to do business with. They're all local franchises. They are entrepreneurs. They work hard to make sure that every customer is taken care of. By the way, all of the barbecue pit stops now have meat counters in them, so you can get your wings, your briskets, your roasts, your steaks, your chops at barbecue pit stop. And you also know, as soon as you hear the name barbecue pit stop, yeah, you're getting the best equipment in the business. There's no doubt about that, whether it's a Traeger, a Big Green Egg, a Yoder, Camp Chef, whatever you need equipment-wise for your pellet smoker to your propane grill, barbecue pit stop's got it. By the way, I would tell you to get into the pellet grill business because you plug that thing in, you fill the hopper with pellets, and you're smoking whatever it is you want to be smoking right now. It is lovely. It is a year-round business. I'm telling you, you put a brisket on the smoker for Christmas, the whole neighborhood knows about it.
Yep. And
it's spectacular. The end product is just superior to charcoal briquettes or propane, in my opinion. I am no longer a propane guy. I am 100% a pellet smoker guy on the Traeger Ironwood 885. And by the way, you can also shop online at bbqpitstop.com. You can chat with them online. There's a little chat feature there. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show, your guy gift-giving headquarters for the guy in your life, Barbecue Pit Stop in Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and our good friends in Murray. All right, let's get your comments in here on NIL and the transfer portal. Cody Strickland says, morning, guys. Kid will be here next Wednesday.
Wow.
I won't be able to watch live shows for weeks.
Come on, man. Come on. It's not like you have anything going on.
Okay, well, listen, Cody, make sure you hit the like button. We've had almost 300 people watch the show now, and we only have 20 likes. So let's go. Hook it up. Watch when you watch our show, please do hit the like button because it does help the show grow. And let me update you. We're trying to get to 9,000 subs in the next week.
Right.
In the next week. And right now we are at 8802.
Okay.
198 to go.
The countdown begins.
We are at 8802. Just 198 subscribers to go. So that's awesome. And we do that by getting thumbs up. When you guys like the show, it pushes the show out into the YouTube algorithm. It really helps the channel grow.
Yes.
So if you could hit the like button, that would be fantastic. Cody, good luck with your new addition to the Strickland family. Kurt Myers, what's up? Teddy Wayman, you stud. Neville93, how are you? Kurt Myers says, the portal and NIL have ruined bowl games. Fans want to see their stars when they play for large sums of money to travel and buy tickets. Well, I think it's an interesting point because I think a lot of guys are not playing in bowl games.
Right.
I mean, if you look at Jaron Hall, Max Tooley, Harris LaChance, the guys who didn't play in New Mexico, some of them are getting ready for the NIL, some of the, or for the
NFL.
Yeah, the NFL Combine, thank you. Some of them are transferring, some of them are injured. But for various reasons, a lot of stars did not show up in New Mexico for BYU. It's an interesting point. It's a very, very interesting point. Kurt Myers says, put luxury taxes on college sports. I think there's going to have to be a spending cap at some point because you can't just have Phil Knight swoop in and spend as much money as you like on NIL. I think it just doesn't work that way. Barfing Chickens says NIL and the portal are so far the best thing that have happened for the sport's competitiveness, but yeah, it needs to be more regulated. And Barfing Chickens, I think we all agree on that.
Yeah.
I think both sides of that. Josh Levern, NIL is great for players, good for some schools, not good for college football in the long term. I agree. Let's see. Simon 2077. Monty has a good point. Well, hey. One they want. Exactly right. K-State flipped a tight end from Colorado, but he didn't want to play for Neon Dion. Interesting. Provo Cougar fan says, I believe it's about 2% of college players make it in the NFL. The portal will make academic progress to a college degree more difficult. The player needs to think about life after football. None of them do. Because
their life isn't about anything else but football.
That's the problem.
Wow.
And I understand there's no perfect world situation. There's no utopia, right?
Yeah.
But we have to, at some point, care about the kid's long-term viability as a man. And I don't think we do nearly enough of that. I think we probably do more of that at Utah and BYU than most schools do. But are you telling me that Deion Sanders thinks about anything other than these kids getting to the NFL? Because I don't believe he does. And I agree that academics are not for everybody.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But if you buy into Deion Sanders and Deion doesn't get you to the NFL, is that your fault or is that his fault? Well, when you're 17, 18 years old and he's throwing a bunch of money at you, it's his fault. And we have, in my opinion, a responsibility to kids to make sure we're putting them in a position to live a better life. Because a lot of the kids that Deion Sanders is recruiting are from single-parent homes that are in poverty in big cities. That's who Deion Sanders is recruiting. And that may work at Jackson State. But what are you going to do when you get the inner city kid who's never had to focus on academics to a place like Boulder, Colorado, where chef school is hard, where now you actually have to write well-thought-out papers? Oh, well, they're going to have academic advisors write those papers. At some point, that kid's going to have to take a test. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they don't ever graduate. Maybe they're not eligible. I don't know. But at some point, you're going to have to figure out how to keep those kids eligible at Colorado, which is really difficult to do. So I don't think we think a whole lot about the academic and the long-term viability of these people as human beings. And I think it sucks. I really do. Coach says Oregon Collective entrance fee to join is $250K. Oregon State collective fee to join their collective is like $20. But that's my point. Oregon is a have. Oregon State is kind of have, but really we don't.
Right.
Right? Like that's what it is. Kenai Johnson, good morning. Simon says it's amazing what Big 12 championships will do for you. K-State normally hovers around 60th. This year they're 28th. And looking at K-State in the transfer portal, it is interesting, by the way, that you see the year that they had and they lost more than they gained. By far, they lost more than they gained in the transfer portal. There is no doubt about that. And when you start looking at their recruiting and you start looking at exactly where they end up, yeah, they absolutely were helped by winning. There's no doubt about that.
Winning cures all.
Yeah, well, I would agree with that, but I just think it's really interesting. That's all I'm saying.
You know what's funny to me? We're sitting here talking about how we have issues or we have thoughts on NIL. What's funny to me? We don't do this in any other sport. You ever notice that? You ever
We don't.
Pause for a second? We're so in love. We're so obsessed. We're so committed to football, a kid's game, that even when there's no football of relevance being played right now, this is what we do. We're too busy to talk about, any other sport really. I mean, we'll talk about the Jazz today, but everyone wants to talk about this. And then we want to sit here and complain that, it's unfair that Phil Knight is spending his money. Well, is it unfair or is it the reality of the world? That's the problem. That's what I have issue with.
But I also think it's remarkable that K-State's able to go to Tuscaloosa and pull a recruit out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They're able to go to Stillwater, Oklahoma, and pull a recruit out of Stillwater, Oklahoma.
That's my point. That's what the system right now allows a program like that to do.
Program.
Yeah, program. You know what I mean?
I mean, their composite their score is 29th in the country.
That's what I'm saying. So is
pretty unbelievable.
Are we, you can't have it both. You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? Like you can't say, hey, there is like we have issues with the fact that there's basically just free spending happening. Spend as much as you want, nobody's tracking it, right? We have an issue with that. But then on the other hand, when K-State's 28th in the nation, that's amazing. We need to have that. And it's like, well, how does a program like K-State get effective once regulation comes in? Because eventually it's going to happen.
Yep, Provo Cougar fan says when big programs, I love that you guys are saying programs. That's awesome. When big programs recruit a lot of 4- and 5-star players, there are not enough positions for them all to play. They become disenchanted and jump into the portal for greener pastures, which is exactly what guys want. I mean, What NIL has done and what the transfer portal has done is it's taken away the ability of a guy like Pervin Meyer to say to Kyle Gunther, I'm ripping your scholarship. You're done. I'm ripping your scholarship, loser. Because the kid will be like, all right, cool, I'm going to get in the transfer portal, coach. See you later.
It's probably different than what you're thinking, though.
Like, it's not how it used to be.
Yeah.
And, again, the days of the cowboy Pervin Meyer are over.
Yep.
You have to compete on a much larger scale now, financially, culturally, playing time. Like, you have to go and compete now. And I think that levels the playing field to a certain extent. Simon says a team only goes as far as the depth you have on the roster, certainly. Yep. And your ability to develop. And I just want to say, I hate when we put labels on 18-year-old kids. I really don't care about the star system. If you were a star in high school, okay, cool, great, you're a 5-star kid. All right, neat. How many 3-star recruits have turned into prolific players? A ton of them. The list is much longer of 5-star recruits who never did anything in college or pro.
Yeah.
So I just don't believe they mean it, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. What's up, Jeff Johnson? Good to see you, friend. Kyle J says the U of U, a.k.a. DBU. You're not even joking.
Yeah.
I mean, this recruiting class for Utah is stellar. It's
what you want.
It's everything you want.
So that's what I'm saying. Just be careful what you wish for, right? Like,
yeah.
You have Kyle Whittingham operating, and we like what he's doing. He's doing a good job. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Jackson State can't compete with Oregon. But could they really compete anyway, even before NIL? Nobody knew who Jackson State was, with all due respect to Jackson State. Nobody knew who you were. You weren't competing for the college football playoffs. So, like, I don't know, man. I agree with what you're saying, but on the other hand, I'm like, dude, it's the reality of the situation. Like, that's our world. That's how life is lived. You know, that's precisely.
Oh, you're so virtuous,
you know what I
as
mean?
a millennial.
Like, you know what I mean? It's the world we live in. Stop complaining, spend your money, and do your job. Like, that's life, dude.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Look, Dabo.
We built this program on NIL.
That's not. Dabo Swinney is just so uncomfortable. He's the guy that comes in and he actually, you know what? He holds the hug a little too long. That's who Dabo Swinney is.
He is.
He's that guy that just is like, he wants to hug you hello. He wants to hug you thank you. He gets a handful of ass when he hugs your mom goodbye. Like, He's just that guy.
Yep.
By the way, we should care about the kid. You don't. I do. We should care about the kid. You know. Anyway, the biggest stories in sports every morning on this program are brought to you by our friends at Quick Quack Car Wash. That's right. It's snowing and wet on the roads this morning in Utah. Please be careful if you're out there driving. But you got to get to Quick Quack Car Wash today. I'll be in Los Angeles 24 hours from now. I will be on my way halfway to St. Jeezy, and I'm stoked about it. And my car will look phenomenal because this afternoon I'm going to Quick Quack Car Wash in South Jordan at the District, and my car's going to come out looking amazing. And then we're going to trash it, and it's going to smell like burgers and farts, but that's fine. The point is, before all that happens, we're going to Quick Quack Car Wash because it's easy, it's quick, and I have a wash pass. $21.99 a month. I get their best wash package, and I can wash my car once or a million times a month. It's totally up to me, but I only pay the same price, $21.99. That's the beauty of a wash pass at Quick Quack Car Wash. I get a smiling face. I don't have to stick my credit card into some box of a machine. I get a smiling face who says, hey, and you know what the best part is? They put your name in the system when you register. The guy always says, hey, Monty, how are you?
Hey, guys.
Doesn't know the show probably, doesn't know who I am, but I know when he puts my license plate in, it says Monty on it. He says, hey, Monty, how are you? Would you like a dashboard wipe? No, thanks. Why don't you save that? I have a cloth in my car that I carry around with me. All right, cool. Thanks. Go ahead and pull up. You pull into the tunnel. There's a guy who waves at you. He directs you in, sprays the front of the car, sprays the back of the car. Good to go.
Bada boom, bada bing. You know what I mean?
We're good to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Quick Quack Car Wash. I love it. You're in and out in 5-7 minutes. The vacuums are free.
Yeah.
The towels to wash your car are free. It's remarkable at Quick Quack Car Wash. And I do think this recruiting and NIL and transfer portal are the biggest stories in sports. This morning, I think they're huge. So, I don't even know that it's close. Obviously, I think the Jazz tonight is a big game as well. Jazz and Wizards coming up in about 13 minutes. We're going to talk Utah Jazz basketball. Is Kyle Kuzma a star in this league? I don't know the answer to that. He's coming to town tonight. They're already in town. They went and saw some high school basketball last night, which I thought was super cool. But where are you at on Kyle Kuzma? Is he a star in the NBA?
And with all due respect.
Wow.
Because the Lakers are after him hard.
Yeah.
The Lakers would love to get Kyle Kuzma back. Do you expect the Jazz to win this game tonight? The Jazz over the Wizards are favored by 6.5.
Altitude, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
By
the way, did anybody see Bron last night?
Yeah,
now,
not good.
I'm kind of pissed, by the way.
Not good.
By the way.
Yeah.
We paid $1,000 for tickets to go see the Lakers tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Lakers and LaMelo.
Right.
And LeBron tweaked his groin last night.
Hey, Claw.
Already without Street Clothes Davis. Already without Russ.
Right.
Now I paid $1,000 to see not LeBron James. Dude.
Great.
If he doesn't play, I'm going to be super pissed.
Well,
super pissed.
I mean, I can't blame you. I mean,
After the Street Clothes Davis.
It's so frustrating.
DeMar played when we went and saw them, right? Can Bron
Hey,
play? No.
Hey.
No.
How about my guy Io last night?
Oh, now your guy.
How about my guy Io
Let's skip the
DeSumo?
fact that DeMar airballed the game winner.
Who
Thanks,
cares?
DeMar.
No, he didn't. That was a pass.
It was a great pass.
It was. He
ass.
passed it right to John Collins, who hit it in. He hit John Collins in the chest with the pass.
Yeah, okay.
Did you not see that? So DeMar DeRozan last night for Mayer and we, the beloved, the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
4 seconds left, tied with Atlanta in Hotlanta. Tries to hit a turnaround fadeaway in the corner, airballs it. It hits John Collins in the chest on the airball, bounces right to that stud, Io DeSumo, who lays it in for the Bulls win. And the best part about it was the celebration made Io DeSumo trip and fall over and on top of John Collins. The Chicago Bulls dogpiled to celebrate the win on top of John Collins. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about LeBron. I'm a little nervous about him if he doesn't play tomorrow night.
That's going to be frustrating.
Dude.
That's going to be really frustrating.
It is so frustrating if he doesn't play. I will be pissed.
Yeah.
Because I paid $1,000 to see LeBron. I paid a G-note to see LeBron James take on LaMelo Ball, and I want to see it. I want it.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty.
I want it.
The guy's playing amazing basketball. I want to see it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour on the Monty Show. We're bringing you the biggest stories in football. Want to focus on the National Football League thanks to our friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Yeah.
The meatball marinara pizza is back at Papa Murphy's. It's the best, one of the best pizzas of the year from Papa Murphy's.
Yes.
Is the meatball marinara. And I'm telling you guys, it's not close. It's so good. Use the promo code Monty25. Order your take and bake Papa Murphy's pizza. Get the chocolate chip cookies. Pop it in the oven for 12, 15, 20 minutes, however long you choose to cook it. And then just mac down.
Yeah.
Because it's stupid good.
Yeah.
Let's get to the National Football League because it is Zachy Poo and the Jets freezing the air.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be cold in New York tonight. Do you guys follow the weather at all? Am I the only idiot that does this? The weather forecast, and I just mean the forecast, not the real. The forecast tonight in New York is supposed to be Arctic temperatures, 34 degrees at kickoff. The wind chill will feel like 8.
Bro.
8 degrees.
I thought you said 8 degrees. I thought I heard Mina Kimes yesterday say that they were going to be wearing lightly modified wetsuits under their jersey.
They are.
Dude.
It's cold tonight. I got to take Zachy Poo and the Jets in this game, right? I mean, they are favored by 2 points. 37's the number. 6:15 on Prime Video tonight. Who do you got in this
Prime
game?
Video. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's called Prime Video.
Prime
Why
Video.
are you ball breaking me over Prime Video?
No, I'm ball breaking Amazon and the NFL for putting it on Amazon.
Well,
anyway, the point is, I don't know. I can kind of see this both ways, to be honest. My instincts tell me to go with Jacksonville because I don't trust Zach Wilson. And Trevor Lawrence has been playing well.
Hey,
Zachy Poo. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Man, what did Lisa say about that?
Yeah, nothing good.
I took the Jags. I took the Jags.
I've been such a casual on my picks this year, dude.
I took the Jags. Well, Jags. I don't have time to do it.
Yeah.
Frankly, I took the Jags. The Jets are going to win this game. I think the Jets are going to win this game. There is no doubt about it.
I'm taking the Jags to win this game, and they'll come out on top. Now, I won't be here tomorrow, right, to take the beating for taking the Jags, but I'm going to take them.
Yeah. I would take the Jets in this game. I would take the Jets in this game, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I would take the Jets in this game.
Where are you at on Philly and Dallas?
Well, not Nick Friedel.
Foles.
No. Somebody reported that Jalen's not going to play.
Yeah.
And if Jalen Hurts doesn't play, Nick Foles is starting for Indianapolis. If Jalen doesn't play,
yeah,
dude, I don't know how you take Philly in that game, right? I mean, I think I'm leaning Dallas in that game.
Yeah, I think you have to lean Dallas, especially if Jalen's not playing. But I don't know. I don't know, dude. I really want him to play, but there's just not a great reason for him to play. That's the problem. You know, you don't if you lose this game, it's of no consequence to you, really.
I mean, it's not going to cost you the division. And that injury that Jalen Hurts had, I mean, it looked gnarbrah like that. And I say we because the Chicago Bears, the beloved, fell on his shoulder and absolutely wrecked his MVP campaign. You're welcome. I don't see how he plays.
I mean, he missed practice yesterday.
Yeah, he's not. I'm telling you, he's not going to play in this game. I don't know why. I don't know why you would have him play. But Jalen Hurts is absolutely the NFL MVP. I think Jalen Hurts is absolutely a game wrecker. And I think I think you have to sit him. I don't even think it's an option to play him. I really don't.
It's not worth it. The risk is way outweighs the reward for sure. Yeah,
I think that when you look at Jalen Hurts and, the season that he's had, I know you want to play him. You can't play him. You can't play him. And I agree with Coach Levering. Gardner Minshew is good enough. He is good enough.
Yeah.
But Jalen Hurts is the NFL MVP right now.
Yeah, he's not Jalen Hurts, obviously.
You can't, but it's not even comparing him to Gardner. You can't risk. You're Philadelphia. You're finally back in a position to compete for a Super Bowl. Not a playoff spot, a Super Bowl. You can't risk Jalen Hurts in this game. You can't.
Yeah.
Teddy Wayman says, I've got the Jags winning this one. You do.
Yeah, I'm with you, Teddy.
Teddy, I'll bet you free pizza. How about that, Teddy? Do you want to bet free pizza on this game, Teddy Wayman? I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. Jets are winning the game. Teddy, if
what's the line on the game?
861 in favor of Zachy.
What are we looking at here?
Isn't it -2? I just said it was -2.
I think it was -2, yeah.
It is, let's see, -2 to the Jets. 37's the number.
Yeah.
And freezing. The thing is, it's freezing cold weather. And you know what scares me off of the Jags in this game? Is that Trevor Lawrence, ESPN, had a package on Trevor Lawrence fumbling the ball all over the place the last 2 times he's played in bad weather. He's not a bad weather quarterback. He's Tua Tagovailoa. He's just not a guy that plays in bad weather.
Right.
He played at Clemson. In Dabo's program. So I would take the Jets just based on the weather, Teddy, but I'll bet you a pizza, man. I'm happy to give you. Teddy's like, yeah. Teddy, is there anything you won't bet on? Is there any? The vernal equinox will happen at 3:41 in the afternoon. You want to bet? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, shave your beard. No, I won't do it. Chop off your left hand. Okay, cool. That's a bet. Teddy's like, yeah, I'm down.
Okay, free pizza. Teddy's got the Jags. You got the Jets.
All right. Giggity says Jags 24-17. Shocker. K. Nurin says Zach wins 30-15.
Please. please.
Kay Nuri will never say a bad thing about Zachy Poo.
Yeah, neither will Zach's mom's friend.
Which I love you for that, Kay Nuri. Appreciate you being
Yeah.
here. Which NFL teams need to make changes in the on the bench? Which? Because
Well, you know the poster child for this.
yeah,
Arizona.
Matt Eberflus.
Okay, Matt Eberflus. Yeah,
No,
that
they
too.
shouldn't fire Matt Eberflus. I'm just being.
No, I mean, I think the Cardinals are the poster child for this conversation.
No.
Well,
No,
here's
sir.
the problem.
The Houston Texans. Who's the head coach of the Houston
Yeah, but
Texans?
the Texans are garbage
Anybody know
every
the
year,
Houston
dude.
Texans?
They're Garbo
Lovie
every
Smith.
year.
The Denver Broncos are the poster child for this. The Indianapolis Colts. Jeff Saturday. We'll see you back on ESPN next year.
What, a lineman's not a good head coach?
Well, the LA Rams.
Nah.
You're not changing. You're
Nope.
not firing McVay.
Nope.
The Arizona Cardinals and
Yep.
Cliffy. You have to.
Yep.
The Atlanta Falcons. Arthur Smith.
That's tough.
Nolans. No, you're not firing New Orleans. They're fine. Carolina. No, they just did. Green Bay. No. Tampa with Bulls. No, I wouldn't either. Detroit.
Nah.
You
Gotta
can't
keep
fire
Dan
Campbell.
now.
You can't fire him. The Seattle Sea Chickens
Nah.
with Pete.
Nope.
Washington Commanders.
Nope. Love Ron Rivera.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Nope.
Fathead.
Fathead Mike McCarthy's going to stay.
You wouldn't. Okay. Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nah.
Yes, I would. Las Vegas Raiders. Josh McDaniels.
It's only been a year, dude.
They should not fire him. The New York Jets. Robert Saleh.
Nah.
Nope, can't fire him. New England Patriots. Bill Belichick.
Nah, he's there till he's done.
Tennessee Titans. Did you guys hear Ryan Tannehill out for the year, broken ankle?
Tough luck. Tough luck.
Wow,
life.
You're such a cock sometimes. Oh, he broke his ankle? Bummer, bro.
Yeah, maybe,
on to the next.
Maybe him and Jimmy Garoppolo can have a Papa Murphy's pizza while they hang out and rehab their ankles.
Why do you hate people?
I don't hate people.
What
I'm
is
just
it
telling
that-
you, when you get your ankles broken, what am I supposed to do? Next man up, right?
I don't understand why you hate people.
I don't.
Should the San Diego, they play in Los Angeles at the Rams house, fire Brandon Staley?
Nah, I like
Yes,
him.
they should. No. Sorry, dude. The San Diego, Los Angeles used to play at a soccer stadium, Chargers.
It's better with a new head coach.
It's not my guy. It's the sex machine. Justin Herbert they should be further along. By the way, who broke Tannehill's ankle? Khalil Mack.
Bye, guys. Should be in the Super Bowl.
Look, the sex machine deserves a better head coach. Justin Herbert deserves a better head coach. There's just no doubt about that. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
He deserves a better coach.
Yeah.
He absolutely does. You deserve a meatball marinara pizza.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do meatballs and marinara.
Papa Murphy's does meatballs?
Oh, I think you mean I do the meatballs and marinara?
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it?
How do we do it? Oh, well, we do it with savory ground beef
Covered in tangy marinara. That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
And don't forget the meatballs.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Dude, how good do those look?
Oh my God, just like that.
How good do those
day,
look?
bro.
Dude,
All
I'm telling
day.
you, you get the hack is all you have to do is get a cheese pizza, get the meatball marinara, put the meatballs on the pizza, sex.
I want it.
That's what it is. It's that I mean, it's so good. It is so good. Teddy, I hope I lose the bet so that you'll do it. Let's see. Jeff Johnson says, Jake is assault on this show. LOL. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Barfing Chicken says, LOL, ruined season sucks to suck. See you next season.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, get your ass out of here, bro. Your ankle's broken. I don't need crutches on the sideline, bro.
Bless up.
Yeah, maybe you should do some more blessing up next year.
Oh, my God. That's hysterical. That is awesome. Giggity says, Nathaniel can't hack it, needs to go.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
You know what I mean?
Lovren says, Lovie Smith should be fired in Houston. Sorry. Jags are 7-3, no touchdowns and 2 safeties on a field goal. LOL. That would be an amazingly bad game. Let's go. Titans is what Josh. Oh, did you mean Titans? My bad. Teddy Wayman says, games are so much more entertaining when you have something on the line. I don't disagree with you.
I'm not that guy. I got to tell you.
I don't disagree with you.
They're the same. The entertainment value for me is the same, dude.
Really?
Yeah, putting like a free pizza, okay, cool, that's fun. But like if I've got $100 on a game, it stresses me out. I can't do it.
Let's see. Brett Robbins says, I'd rather have wings. You're crazy. Wings are good. But see, that's the thing. You don't have to do either or.
Yeah, do both.
Do both.
Yeah, why wouldn't you do both?
The meatball marinara, it's one of the best pizza seasons of the year. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Just give it a chance.
I am telling you. It is amazing. Safest coach in the NFL, Kyle Niners. Well, I actually think Kyle Shanahan was on the block before Jenny Garoppolo got back in there.
Sorry, I thought you said Jenny Garoppolo.
That's exactly what I said. I think Sean McDermott in Buffalo, bulletproof. I think
Reid.
Andy Reid in Kansas City, bulletproof.
Doug Peterson.
But he just got the job, though.
Well, still got the job.
I think, what's his name in Cincinnati? Oh, geez. Taylor. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Taylor.
Zach Taylor is as safe as it comes in Cincinnati. I don't know about John Harbaugh in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lamar's got to stop getting hurt.
I mean, I Sirianni in Philadelphia ain't going anywhere.
No.
You can't tell me that. I mean, what Dayball with the Giants? I mean, that's a far improved team. I think the safest coach is probably Sean McDermott in Buffalo.
Right.
I don't know what you guys think, but Barfing Chicken says Jenny G on the 49ers is a penny in a room full of dimes.
Well.
Okay. I thought the Jenny Garoppolo NFL quarterbacks as women.
It was funny, dude.
Fire.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Fire. Giggity says Chargers coach is in trouble, as he should be. As he should be. I mean, I just don't, but that's just me. Josh says Pete from Seattle is pretty safe as well. Well, but he's not the safest coach, in my opinion. I don't know. I just think the Chargers should be far better. You disagree with me on that?
Yeah,
now, I think Brandon Staley is a good coach, but that team should be
a
better.
playoff team every year.
I mean, look at the talent they've added defensively.
Yeah, they should be a playoff team every year.
Well, and the other problem is their wide receivers can't stay healthy and they don't have a full-size NFL running back. They have Kyler Murray at running back.
Yeah.
I'm just being a jerk now.
Yeah.
Like the show and the use of the promo code Monty25, good morning. Like the show, use the promo code Monty25, good morning. Thank you.
Grow the program. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it.
How are we doing on likes? Where are we at
on likes today, guys? We are at 38. We have about 500 views on the show so far this morning. And we have 39 likes. All 87 of you that are here watching the show, let's go. Let's go.
By the way, we will have a special program for you tomorrow morning since we're not doing a live show.
Yeah, this is our last live show of 2022.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Isn't that nutty that it is already, you guys, the last live show of 2022
Program.
And it is the last live program of 2022. I hate you so much. The last live program of 2022.
And what a year it's been.
Yeah, thanks to our friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, The Advocates. You never come out of your pocket to be represented by the best injury attorneys in the business. The Advocates don't charge you consultation fees. They don't nickel and dime you to death. They don't charge you retainers. They help you defer your medical bills so that you can focus on getting back to the best version of yourself after an accident. That's why you go to The Advocates, theadvocates.com. You can chat with a lawyer online 24/7 at theadvocates.com. But yeah, I mean, real quick before we get to the Yaz, it's been a crazy year. Obviously, we moved into the Maverick Center, built this studio with the Wayman brothers, like just crazy. The development of the show, and we've added, and I can look it up. I don't know how many, but I think we've added 5,000 subscribers to the show this year.
Yeah.
We're at 8805. We're just 195
Come
away
on, people. Come
from
through.
Jazz tickets.
Pull through. Let's go.
195 away from Jazz tickets. That's unbelievable.
Let's go.
But I think the thing that's so incredible is that you guys have really supported this show. And I appreciate that in more ways than I can even describe, because without you guys, we don't have a show.
Yeah.
And we are not the pretentious, we're the best in the business, even though we are. We're not the pretentious guys on this program that are like, hey, we fully realize that if you guys didn't watch this show every day, we wouldn't have a show. So I really appreciate the fact that you guys are here every day, that you hit the like button. because it really helps the channel grow. I just really appreciate you guys. Mike Maple says, keep up the likes, guys, for the program for the 9,000 goal. Yeah. I mean, if we can get to, your life supposedly changes at 10,000.
Program.
But you can't get to 10,000 without being at 9,000, man.
Yeah.
We only have 195 to go to 9,000.
Yeah, dude.
That's insane. That's absolutely
40, 50
insane.
a day have been added.
That's insane. Josh Levern says Gonzaga is the best program in Spokane, Washington.
Gonzaga.
Exactly. All right, let's talk Utah Jazz basketball on the Monty Show. It is the Jazz and the Washington Wizards tonight.
Yeah.
At the Viv, brought to you by our good friends at Tri-Day Trading, tridaytrading.com/Monty. I'm just asking you to go watch a free webinar. tridaytrading.com/Monty. No obligation, no cost, free webinar. You want to support the show? Smash the like button. Go watch the webinar at tridaytrading.com while we talk Utah Jazz basketball. The Jazz are favored by 6.5 points tonight.
Right.
229 is the number.
Uh-huh.
Is Kyle Kuzma a star? The Utah Running Ute alum is in town tonight. Where are you at with this? How do you feel about it? Is Kyle Kuzma a star?
He's a 4A guy. He's a guy that can come in, take over one game every 5, and win you one game every 5. And then he'll disappear the next night. That's who he is. He's no better than Jordan Clarkson, in my opinion. He's no better than any guy that is not a superstar but can give you 30 a night, right? Like that's just who Kyle Kuzma is. And I think, like Kyle Kuzma is no better than Tyler Hero, in my opinion. He is a little more consistent, but if we're talking about profile and reputation, they're the same guy, in my opinion. You are the same guy. And to me, I think Kyle Kuzma can contribute and be a contributing factor on a championship team, but he's certainly not some guy that's going to take you to the promised land like a Kevin Durant or a Giannis would. That's not who Kyle Kuzma is. Now, if you're Kyle Kuzma, you're telling everybody that you're the best thing in the league and nobody can guard you, right? And you're just going to heat check the whole game. That's what you're telling people. But if we're being honest, no, he's not a superstar. He's not, he's an all-star caliber player, but he's not that top-end, top-cut guy that I think he would like to be perceived as. I think he's grown a lot in his career. I think he's really built his body. You can see a major difference from when he started out to where he is. So I think he's a hell of a player, but I don't think he's some superstar, take you to the NBA Finals type guy.
I think he is a guy that can he carry your team for short stretches. He can. I don't believe that Kyle Kuzma is what the Lakers are missing. I don't. I think that Braun wants him back on the team because I think he's a known commodity, right? I don't think he's a guy that the Lakers are missing. And what I see in Kyle Kuzma is a rapidly developing player. And I still don't think we've seen the best out of him. What he was with the Lakers, he was that guy that was on mute, right? Like you never heard from him. You never heard about him because he was always overshadowed. He got to Washington, where you have a guy in Brad Beal who's always injured. He misses a lot of games. Kyle Kuzma fills that void. Kyle Kuzma is on the runways in New York fashion shows. Like, he's that cool, neat, hip figure. He's that guy that kids like to watch. He's that guy who there's something about him that makes him hip and cool and popular with your fan base. But he's not that guy, pal, who you can give the ball to and say, hey, go win me a game.
Yeah.
I don't believe that that's who Kyle Kuzma is. Again, I think he's Lauri Markkanen, but with more personality. That's what Kyle Kuzma is.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
I think he's a second or third option on a very good team, Jake. And I think if he's your best player, you're not probably going to win a championship.
Yeah, I like that comparison. He's Lauri Markkanen with more personality. I like that comparison a lot. I mean, I think that obviously, they're built differently. Lauri's a 7-footer. Obviously their games are a bit different. But really, at the end of the day, you look at the impact they have on the game, they're basically the same guy. They just play a different position. And to me, there are several of these guys in the league, and so that's why I say, no, he's not some, $45, $50 million a year guy. That's not who he is. I would pay Kyle anywhere between 27 and probably 33, 34 million a year. That's where I'd be happy to pay him by NBA standards. And I think that, as far as the Jazz are concerned, Yeah, they could probably use a Kyle Kuzma, but I don't want Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Clarkson on the same team.
No, I would agree with that.
I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in trading some of my assets to get a true clean-cut, cold-blooded point guard, because I love Mike Conley, but he's just hurt too much, And I think this team with a point guard that could play every single night, could play, let's call it 75 games. I think if you had a point guard who had Mike Conley's ability but could play 75 games, this team would be way different. This team would be way more consistent. This team would perform at their best level for this squad and this roster. 6-7 nights out of 10 instead of 3-4 nights out of 10, which is where they are right now, in my opinion. 3 or 4 games out of 10, you're going to get their best, and they're going to win those games, right? But then 6-7 nights out of 10, you're going to get Jordan Clarkson perusing the paint, picking up his dribble, and turning it over. That's what you're going to get right now. So that's why I say I like watching Kyle Kuzma play basketball, but he's not Brad Beal. He's not Jason Tatum.
Brad Beal.
He's not any of these top-end guys. He's just not.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it doesn't mean that Kuz is a bad player, because certainly he's not. But we have to, at some point in this league, and I think this is a major problem with the Lakers. Look at LeBron James. Is LeBron James still able to be the best player on a championship team?
Yeah.
I think it's really close. If he's the best player on a championship team, you need a dynamic number 2. Kyle Kuzma is not a dynamic number 2, right? I think you need a number 2, and you need 2-3 guys that can knock down the 3 at a 35 to 40% clip if you're the Lakers to try and win a championship. I think that's what LeBron James is. But make no mistake about it, Kyle Kuzma can be one of the best players on a championship team. But if you're Boston, if you are, look at Golden State. Golden State's in real trouble. I don't know how to break this to you.
Yeah.
Golden State's in real trouble. And I know that you are unbelievably disappointed. You cried yourself to sleep last night. Internal. Yeah, it was internal for you last night.
That's an issue.
Because they got blown out again.
Yeah.
And it was ugly. And Steph Curry is not what this team is missing. They're missing, actual quality basketball. That's what they're missing. Steph Curry doesn't fix what happened last night. They got blown up last night. Again. They gave up 91 points in the first half to the Nets. That's not Steph Curry.
What are you talking about, man?
I don't care what anybody says.
91 in the first half.
91 points in the first half, and Kevin Durant really didn't play in the second half.
Dude.
It is unbelievable to me. The Golden State Warriors are this bad, and it's inexplicable, really. If we're being honest, it's inexplicable that the Golden State Warriors are this bad. I just don't. I don't understand.
I think that Steve Kerr is having to write a handbook on how to deal with. Hey, my team sucks with the press. You're hearing him say things like every team goes through this and every team hits rock bottom and every team whether it's fatigue or injury or otherwise is going to have a tough stretch. The problem, Steve, as much as I love you, bro, the problem is that this tough stretch has been the whole year. It's not like it's been 7 games and you guys have just looked trash. I don't care who you are. 91.5 is absolutely, utterly embarrassing. And
46 in the first quarter, 45 in the second quarter.
Yeah, that adds up to 91.5. What you typically give up in what?
A game.
40 minutes?
45
in a game. Minutes? Yeah.
In a game.
And so to me, I look at this and I say, yeah, Steph Curry, not having Steph is a huge loss, of course. But I agree. That's not why you're giving up 91.5.
You didn't play Steph or Clay last night. I understand that. Those are 2 decent defensive pieces. But Draymond Green scoring 2 points in 23 minutes?
Fucking A.
Jordan Poole is a superstar, and he's going to be no, he's not. 13 points in 26 minutes? Your best player last night was by far James Wiseman, who I actually thought probably played his best game as a pro. Not because of the statistics, but because it seemed like he finally understood how to, operate at the NBA level.
Yeah.
This team's in real trouble now. By the way, I would remind you that Meyer and we, the beloved Brooklyn Nets, scored 143 points without carousel.
Yeah.
Kyrie did not play in that game.
Yeah.
And I would just point out, my friends, that they got double digits from all of their starters. And they got 16 off the pine. And again, Edmund Sumner, good old Eddie Sumner.
Yeah, Ed.
Is dominating.
Yeah.
That guy is a legit contributor off the bench. Patty Mills is shooting it well. Ben Simmons is defending it well.
Yeah. Let's see what they can do in the playoffs.
Daddy done told you.
Learn your lesson.
Warn you.
Learn your lesson.
I warned you.
You told us last year, too. Learn your lesson.
I warned.
They can do it in the regular season.
You,
Let's see what it's like in the postseason.
Look, it's not my fault that Kevin Durant wears a size 37 shoe. Anyway.
Yeah.
I love talking the NBA.
Yeah,
I don't know if
same.
you guys can see that, but I do. Josh Leverett says pool for Towns. Who says no? No.
I say no.
Yeah, I don't want
Karl Anthony Towns.
The ending to the Jazz versus Warriors game perfectly describes the Warriors season so far. Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. You just melted down. Like you just could not execute. Teddy, that's a great point. That is a great point. Brett Robbins says LeBron going to sign with Cleveland on vet minimum to win 2 more chips before he retires. Nah, he's not leaving L.A. His kids are too entrenched in L.A. He loves going to his kids' games. He loves them coming to his games. And I think Bronny is exploding on the scene now. He has really turned into an unbelievable player. I think he wants his 2 sons to play with the Lakers. Like, I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Josh Leverett says Golden State high mileage Warriors. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Father Time is undefeated.
But again,
man.
you're seeing their draft process and their young guys being tested now. And I think that, last night was utterly embarrassing and totally unacceptable. However, would anyone be surprised 2 months from now if they, played spoiler for playoff teams? Like, hey, we're not going to the playoffs, but we remember Brooklyn when you put up 91.5 and embarrassed us, and Kyrie was in his ugly ass sweater dancing on the bench. We remember that, and we're gonna ruin your season. So don't be surprised if Steve Kerr and company find a way to get this team going. But I agree, they are in trouble. But I would not be surprised to see if they bounce back.
And by the way, Bob Myers still has not signed a contract extension,
which is unbelievable to me. I
Their
don't
general
understand
manager.
it. I don't know if that's a Bob thing or what, but that's unbelievable to me.
I don't know. UC Regent Gumby says, guys, good morning, guys.
Right.
Good morning, Gumby. Gumby have and I know that you have.
Hey, guys.
I'm assuming you've watched the free webinar at TryDayTrading.com/Monty. You know that our NBA talk and jazz talk is always brought to you by our friends at TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Hook it up today. Make sure that you are watching that free webinar. Make sure that you are registering, watching it. It's no obligation, and I'm telling you, as I say every day multiple times, day trading is absolutely a route to financial freedom and prosperity for you and your family. You just have to take the simple step of watching a free no obligation webinar. And there are people today on December 22nd who are going to pocket $1,000. Are you going to make $1,000 today? I don't know. You're probably not. And if you're not, you need to get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Are you going to make $100? Are you going to make $500 today?
Me?
You're not? Well, go ahead and get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty, because there are people who have gone through the Tri-Day trading program in mass numbers, making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single day because they went through the TryDayTrading.com program. They teach you, they coach you, they mentor you. They continue that education and that mentorship throughout your trading career. And the best part is when you're ready to actually make live trades, you do that with their money, not your money. And if you make money with TryDayTrading.com's money, they split the profit with you. Hook it up today. Free, no obligation webinar. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Josh Leverett says, don't think Golden State would get up for spoiler hoops. Yeah, I don't know what Golden State becomes. What becomes of Golden State?
That's what they have to figure out.
Because I don't even at this point, I don't know that I could say they're going to be a playoff team at this point. And I think when you're a game and a half out of Minnesota in the West for the last playoff spot.
The Rudy Goberts.
Who, by the way, Rudy Gobert was back with the team last night. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I just don't think Draymond Green can play at a high level anymore. Watching last night, that's what stood out to me. He just looks like a dude that's out of gas.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever recovered to this point from the finals last year where he just looked gassed.
Yeah.
Where he just looked exhausted. He doesn't have the same jump in his step anymore. And he never was a great three-point shooter, but he could knock a couple down a game. He's not even doing that anymore. He's not a great rebounder. He's still a really high-level defender, but you're seeing the erosion of Draymond Green's skill set. And I just, when I look in the West and I see Sacramento fighting their asses off, and you look at that team and you start asking yourself, like, who are the up-and-coming teams in the NBA Western Conference?
Yeah.
Sacramento's got to be in that conversation now. There's just no other way to avoid that. Every Laker starter is in double figures. Now, they only got 22 points off their bench last night. But every starter, Lonnie Walker, again, I will just keep saying that name. Lonnie Walker's a 20-point-a-night guy in this league. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
But Walker, Schroeder, Pat Bev, Thomas Bryant, and LeBron James all in double figures. LeBron was unbelievable last night. And they still lost by 14 to the Sacramento Kings.
Because they don't play defense.
They don't. That Sabonis trade looks like an absolute home run. You look at Herter last night, 26 points on 3 of 7 from 3. Like, they have a complete roster. You have guys on that bench that are competing. You have guys on that bench. You get 10 points out of a bench contributor for Sacramento, and that's almost like 20 on any other team.
Right.
Because you have such a balanced starting five. Sacramento should scare you. If you're not following the Kings, they should scare you. You look at who else in the West, I don't think there's any doubt the Jazz are up and coming. I don't view them as some team that is just rebounding off of, wrecking their roster.
Yeah.
That team's up and coming. The Clippers are far better than 5 over 500. They're 19-14. When that team's healthy, that team is the best team in the Western Conference.
I have to say, how long are we going to ask that question? When this team is healthy, like at some point, they got to get healthy.
Well, I think you're seeing that, and having watched most of this game the other night, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard look great. I don't know how else to describe it. They look like they are refreshed when they're on the floor, and I know we're managing their loads.
Right, managing their loads.
But Paul George and Kawhi Leonard look really good, and I still maintain that Reggie Jackson has a lot to offer on that team. I think that Nick Batum is still a very high-level three-point shooter in this league. I think that you're getting Norman Powell contributions. I think Luke Kennard's a guy that can score 15 to 17 points in any given day, depending on what the role is that they need him to play. Like, I'm telling you, that's the best team in the Western Conference when they're right.
Yeah.
It's not close. But I also don't happen to be a Denver guy. I'm not somebody that's like, oh my God, Jokic. If Nikola Jokic doesn't play for Denver, are they a playoff team?
No.
They're not.
No.
He is the whole
Which
nine
is why
for
his
them.
MVP case is strong, because I think that he is so important.
I'd agree with that. And
I think that, when he's dropping 40-point triple-doubles, a game or 2 out of 10, I mean, you're going to win. You're going to win those games. You just are. And I think that Jokic is somebody who is not super fun to watch, but he's extremely efficient and extremely productive, and he's a good team guy.
Who do you guys think is the best team in the NBA right now? In the comments section, let's get it rolling. Who do you think is the best team in the NBA right now? I think I can make a case that Donnie and the Cavs are playing the best basketball in the NBA. Did you guys see it? Like, they pretty well handled Milwaukee last night. And Giannis still had 40, and Donovan Mitchell was just a more impactful player. It's pretty remarkable how much him and Jared Allen complement each other.
Yeah.
Like, Jared Allen's defense last night, 3, 4, 5 times led to fast break opportunities. And I think...
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's development is clear. I think that Donovan is just better. I think that his shot selection is better, so he's making more of the shots that he does take. I think that his ability to understand that he can play, pick and roll, that he can, he can pass. He can. And I think that Jared Allen is somebody who needs a guy like that. Jared Allen thrives when you put him in good positions. He's not like, there are some guys like you play pick and roll with who it's like, all right, yeah, he may dunk this or he may lay it up. No, Jared Allen can posterize anybody provided that you give him a running start to the basket. And I think that that's invaluable to have on a team. Like, I think that they have really nice balance. And by the way, this whole concept of, hey, Donnie's on that team, so the spotlight's off at Darius Garland makes them way better because now Darius Garland doesn't feel like he's got to carry his load through the team, right? Darius Garland can just do him, and it turns out to be 30 a night most nights.
Again, I know Salty Drunk yesterday lit us up over this. Who didn't play for the Bucks last night? Chris Middleton. And they miss him when he does not play. And I love Drew Holiday.
What, Joe Ingles wasn't getting it done?
Oh, my God. Did you see Donnie toying with Joe Ingles?
Yeah, I think Joe Ingles is still looking for a map. Jeez.
Donovan Mitchell, if you didn't see it, Donnie toyed with Joe Ingles at times last night. But, yeah, I look at Garland. I think you're exactly right about Darius Garland. Now that he's not in the middle of the spotlight the entire night, like, I think he's a better player for it.
Keep it real.
I mean, him, though, like, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and Donovan Mitchell are a problem. That team's a problem.
But look at the points, seriously. So how many points did Donnie have last night?
36 on 15 of 16 from the free throw stripe.
What did Garland have?
Garland had 23, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line, but 4 boards, 2 dimes, and a steal.
You see what I mean? So Donovan is the best player, but Darius is putting up numbers.
But what's the number on Donovan Mitchell that really matters? It'd be this guy right here, 2 turnovers. He plays 37 minutes, takes 21 shots, and only turns it over twice.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big freaking deal, dude. And they only played 8 guys. And Karis LeVert, again.
Yeah.
Seti Osman, Kevin Love, I think, has given them huge 9 boards and 5 dimes last night.
Yeah.
9 boards and 5 dimes.
That's damn good production for a bench guy.
I think I could make the argument. that team's going to be a problem in the postseason. I don't know that they can score enough against Boston defensively, but we'll see. All right, who do you guys think is the best team in the NBA right now? Tyler P says the Celtics. I think it's hard to argue that. California 2023 says the Clips. Dude, I think I'm with you on the Clippers in the West. I think the LA Clippers. I know I'm stupid and we say it every year. I know. And you hold me accountable for that. Cavs looking really good. Teddy says yes, they are. Nets are 9-1 in their last 10.
They're hot. They're playing good basketball.
Yep. That Kevin Durant is just balling his ass off.
Yeah.
Like that. He doesn't look like a guy that should be a good basketball player, but he's just stupid good.
Yeah.
I love watching him play. I love it. San Diego State, what's up? His San Diego State's kid is going to Cal to play football.
You know?
Why? No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. California 2023 says, I agree. He is an all-around player. Who are you talking about? Tyler P says, once Middleton is healthy, Bucks are the best team. But I don't know that he's starting to strike me. Chris Middleton with a K is starting to strike me as a guy that's not going to be healthy again.
Think that's HIPAA?
Because multiple NBA final or runs, one finals appearance into the Olympic tournament. Dude.
Yeah.
A lot of basketball. California says Garland for MVP. Come on.
Take it easy.
Come on.
Take it easy.
K. Nuren says Don takes Cleveland to the playoffs in a championship. I think there's a real good chance they're competing in the Eastern Conference Finals this year or next year. We'll see. I mean, Donnie never stays healthy. That's for sure. San Diego State says Tyler P. The Bucks would have been my choice, but for that reason, Middleton not being healthy. It's huge.
Yeah.
He's such an important player. California says Clips. Neville 93 says the Denver Nuggets look scary. I don't know why I'm saying that, but they look good, and Cleveland looks good too. There's always something missing with Michael Malone and the Denver Nuggets. There's just something there that's missing. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Because they're a better team this year than they were last year, but I still don't think they're a playoff team without Dad Bod. I really don't.
Yeah, they need him for sure.
Yeah, Jokic is the whole thing there. UC Regent Gumby says, go Bears. Barfing Chicken says, don't know anything about basketball. Still, the Dolphins win the finals in 3. Well, listen.
Dilly.
Fast break. Tua Tagovailoa, daddy is
that's
really.
That's a good take.
Middleton and Draymond are on the same path in their NBA career now. Well, I just think they've both played so much basketball.
Yeah.
Father Time's undefeated. Jeremy Bolton, the mayor of Monty Town.
Well.
Well, hey, how about those Bulls last night? Man, speaking of Jeremy Bolton, did you see Caruso's concussion? Oof. Yeah, Caruso's in concussion protocol. And see, I've avoided talking about the Bulls. I've avoided it. Because they're pissing me off.
You know.
Like, that team, the final 2 minutes of the game, and actually I think in the final 35 seconds of the game, the Atlanta Hawks ran the exact same play twice, and Nikola Vucevic did the exact same thing twice, which was chose not to defend the rim. And they got a layup and an alley-oop dunk.
Yeah.
The Bulls are so bad defensively if Caruso's not in the lineup. And how are you reliant on Alex Caruso's defense, which, again, he's an elite defender and role player. But they got lucky to win that game last night. Now, Zach LaVine hit a huge shot. DeMar hit a huge shot. John Collins was in the unenviable position. And if you've ever played basketball, you know a long shot that's an air ball is impossible to catch.
Yes.
Like, it's really difficult. So DeMar is with 4 seconds on the line, on the game. The clock. Game's on the line. They're tied. DeMar DeRozan in the corner, like, tries this fadeaway three that's an air ball. No, it wasn't. And it hit John Collins in the chest right off them man titties. And it went.
Hold on. Wait. I thought you just said right off them man titties.
Yeah, what?
Bro.
It did.
The nomenclature is his chest.
Oh, okay, my bad. It hit him right in those man titties, and it bounced right to Ayo Dosunmu, who laid it up and in, and the Bulls won the game. But please, and Dabo, if you're listening, please reach out to your close friend, Jesus Christ.
Right.
Because the Bulls need to tear that thing down.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Tear that thing down, Dabo. Please.
We really did.
The Bulls are terrible. It is so frustrating to watch. And again, I'm just going to say again and again and again, can I just have one team in Chicago that's worth a damn? The Cubs, you're embarrassing. The Hawks are terrible. The Bulls are terrible. The Bears are terrible. And the White Sox, nobody cares. Like, they're not a team in Chicago.
And that's how I look at it.
All I can do is hope the Chicago Fire eventually wind up playing football, and they might win the MLS Cup. Pricks. So frustrating. The Bulls are terrible. Terrible.
Program.
Yeah. What program? They don't have a program. Carlin Lefevre, good morning. One perception of the Nuggets was the whole league's perception of the Jazz a couple of years ago when they led the West, just missing something. It is. It's really odd. They're just...
Yeah.
Monty, not my kid going to play wide receiver at Cal, but my nephew. Oh, excuse me. So it's in the bloodline.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
That is so cringy out of Dabo Swinney.
It is. It really is.
It is so bad out of Dabo. Yeah, I'm actually... Dabo Swinney is a... Do you guys like Dabo Swinney? I'm going to play this clip. While I'm playing this clip, in the comments, do you guys like Dabo Swinney? Because this just weirds me.
Through it, and I mean, for me, we built this program on NIL. We really did. And it's probably different than what you're thinking, though. We built this program in God's name, image, and likeness. And that's how I look at it. Program.
Stop it.
Program.
Stop it.
Program.
Like, this is so awkward to me. This is like one of those ones where, and you can see it on his face. He's like, we built this program on a program. We built this program on biscuits and gravy and
it's
NIL.
Probably different than what you're thinking, though.
But it's not how you think about NIL and like name, image, and likeness. We turn to the Almighty Jesus Christ.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Like, it's so weird to me.
We turned wine into footballs.
We turned wine into cold, hard cash.
We really did.
This is so awkward. And it's not a believe in Christ or don't believe in Christ. And I totally get it. Athlete guy stands up there after he wins a championship. Praise up, bless up. Totally get it.
Bless up.
Totally get it. But football coach saying that he built the NIL program in the program out of Jesus Christ.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
No, you didn't. No, I've read the Bible twice.
God bless.
Okay, well, once, but the other time it was read to me. I saw that Denzel movie, The Book of Eli. I know what the Bible says, and it doesn't say, if you'd like to get the highest recruits, go ahead and call my son Jesus Christ. Now, he's the son of a Jewish carpenter. He'll build you a whole practice facility.
It's probably different than what you're thinking, though.
This is so awkward. Dude, it's so awkward. And then Arlington Bears rolls down here. Wow, the Chicago Sky won it. Is that the NWSL team? Then I don't know who it's the WNBA team. But that's not the point.
Right.
That's not the point. I don't know. I don't know. This is just me, man. I have no idea. Josh Lovert says Monty has his own Urban Dictionary vernacular when it comes to sports double meanings.
Yeah.
It does. And I don't even, listen, I don't pretend to have the proper nomenclature. What I do know is that I am cringed out. I'm weirded out by Dabo Swinney.
Program.
I am weirded out. Breaking news out of the National Football League.
Jalen Hurts is out. Is that what it is?
One of my guys at ESPN texted me to say, Monty, it's official. YouTube TV and the NFL Sunday Ticket are done.
Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go.
How about that?
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
How about that?
In God's name, image, and likeness.
You're such a jerk. Oh, my God. You are such a jerk.
Come on. No, but for real, that's amazing. I'm hyped on that. That's seriously awesome.
Oh, my God. I just think it's interesting that you have a situation where, that the NFL Sunday Ticket, and there's the story right there, once Apple exited the talk, things moved very quickly. Less than a week after a report emerged that Apple, the long-standing frontrunner for the Sunday Ticket from DirecTV, pulled out, Google YouTube has a deal in place with the NFL. The NFL announced on Thursday morning that starting in 2023, the Sunday Ticket will be available only through YouTube.
Let's go.
It will be an add-on package for YouTube TV and a standalone option for the YouTube primetime channel.
Hell yeah.
Wow,
yeah,
that's
dude.
incredible.
Now, this goes right to, though, see, again, and I'm happy to have this conversation. Ryan Smith, let's get it going, bud. Let's get it going, because now I'm real close to cutting the cord. I'm real close now, because for me personally, we're a little different on this. I don't watch a lot of just regular TV. I'm a sports guy if I'm watching TV at home. So to me, Sunday Tickets on YouTube TV, I can get, the NHL package or NBA or whatever. You can get those packages. So to me, now all that's left is the Jazz coming out and making YouTube TV available to watch Jazz games. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I'm sorry to be distracted because 10 things are happening at once. Jaron Hall has apparently accepted an invitation to the Senior Bowl, which isn't that an indication that you're going to the National Football League draft?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. I need to do some further research on that. But, it is it's interesting to see exactly what this means to BYU, and if this is indeed the indicator that Keaton Slovis is coming to BYU.
Right.
And is Keaton Slovis a guy that you feel like can be your next starting quarterback? Yeah, boy, there it is right there. Officially from the, and let me see if I can get a screen grab on that for you. Officially from the Senior Bowl account, Jaron Hall has accepted an invite to the Reese's Senior Bowl. So this is a big to do now.
I don't like
how do you react to this?
I have to be honest. I don't love how Jaron's handled this. If I'm being totally honest, like I think that he's waited too long. Like I think that he'll get drafted, in my opinion. But I think that it would have been better to just be like, yeah, I'm foregoing the bowl game because I'm going to the league.
Yeah, I don't love this idea that he waited this long. I mean, I'm guessing that he must have. This is pure speculation, but I am guessing that Jaren Hall must have gotten a grade back that he liked in the NFL draft process.
Yeah, he must have, and I think that as far as Keaton Slovis is concerned, Keaton Slovis doesn't excite me even a little bit. I think he's a game manager. He's not dynamic. It just is what it is. Like, I mean,
how do you, if you're BYU, how do you react to this? I mean, I feel like there's no way back from this now.
Yeah,
he didn't, and this explains why he didn't play in the New Mexico Bowl. This also tells me that by this invitation that you're looking at on the screen, that it's up in the air, and he probably got a mid-round grade, because the only reason that a high-level quarterback goes to the Senior Bowl, and we'll see if he plays in the game, the only reason you go to the Senior Bowl is to get exposure to scouts and NFL executives.
Right.
That's why you go to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see exactly how all this plays out now, because Jaren Hall is a hugely important figure in the grand scheme of things, because Jacob Conover transferred. And that should have been your QB in waiting. And I just don't think you have a quarterback in the program who can fill his shoes.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you added one on in the early signing period. And I think this is a huge moment in time for Utah, or excuse me, for BYU football.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of instability heading into the Big 12. That's what I think. I think that you've brought in new coaches. You're starting quarterbacks going to the league. Like, you're having to go out and recruit a quarterback. Like, that's what I'm telling you guys. The bench is not. Like, the goal is 10 wins, but the expectation is 4. I'm telling you, 4 wins should be your expectation. And I'm not even trying to hate. I'm not trying to be salty or nothing. I'm telling you, a realistic expectation should be 4. 4 wins in your first year in the Big 12, because you've lost Jaren now. Like, you're moving on now. Now we're going to get a brand new, totally new BYU football team overall. And I think that I'm not going to sit here and say it's scary. I think it's the nature of the beast. But when we're sitting here this morning talking about NIL and transfer portal and money and everything, forgive me for not caring so much about these kids after college football, because it's not Kalani's job to make sure you got a job after college football. It's his job to win football games. So to me, I don't know about that. Okay, well, tell me how I'm wrong. How does he have any responsibility to what you look like after you're done at BYU?
I think very clearly Kalani Sitaki has a responsibility. I think Kalani Sitaki has a duty, if you will. I mean, to make sure that he is setting up the kids at BYU that are in his football program for success in life. The next time we hear about making men at BYU will not be the first time, and football being 5th. And you have a huge responsibility here. I also think this is probably the right thing for Jaren Hall, because if he comes back and goes to the Big 12, and I think this offensive line is going to be spectacular next year. Connor Pay's coming back. I mean, obviously, Kingsley Suamataia, I think, is absolutely an NFL prospect at right tackle. I think your offensive line room is loaded. Your wide receiver room is loaded. But you're playing in the Big 12 now every single week. And Jaren Hall has not shown an ability to stay healthy. And I think that's going to crush his draft stock. He's got to go to the Senior Bowl and ball out. He's got to show everything that he can show. And he's got to get healthy. Whatever this ankle/foot injury is, he's got to show that he's ready to go. And I think if I'm Kalani Sitaki, I'm advising him to go. And I absolutely think that Kalani has a responsibility, as every football coach in this country does, to make sure that their kids are set up to succeed.
Yeah, we disagree. I mean, I think it's part of the nature of the beast that you're helping these guys get set up, but it's not his job to make sure that that you got a job at Adobe or something, or that you certainly had like some great success afterwards. Like Kalani Sitaki needs to be more worried about winning football games than making men, and I'm not sure that he is.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. That's a very interesting question.
I'm telling you, everyone's too positive on this Big 12 move. You're going to the Big 12, and that's the right thing for you. But I'm telling you, do not have the expectation of 7 wins. You're not winning 7 games.
I don't think anybody's that optimistic. Interesting. Max Tooley will join us in 45 minutes on the program. Obviously, we're going to ask him about this. I mean, I think that this is a big loss for Jaron Hall. This is or for BYU. Jaron Hall is a big loss, but this is what big-time football programs do. I mean, you should have but again, I think this goes back to Jacob Conover. And I think it's a mistake to not have prepared Jacob Conover better than you did. Why didn't they give him a shot? And why is nobody asking what happened with Jacob Conover? I don't understand that. I don't get it. Because Jacob Conover should be preparing to be the starting quarterback at BYU right now today. You need a guy in this program right now today that is preparing to be the starting quarterback for your first snap in spring football. It starts today. Like, this is when it starts. There's no Christmas. There's no New Year's. There's preparing for the Big 12 if you're BYU football. Because I think when you look at what this program's going to do, you added a running back that I think is really going to make an impact on the club. You've got great wide receivers. You've got a great offensive line room. There's no more excuses at quarterback at BYU. It's unacceptable for quarterback U not to have a quarterback today.
Yeah.
And if Jared Hall was coming back, I'd have said, well, you know what? Yep, there you go. Jaren's coming back. Okay, that's going to be a Band-Aid to the football program. But now Jaren's gone, and that means you've known Jaren's been gone for probably at least a week. You better get busy, because Drew Pine and Keaton Slovis are not good enough. They're not good enough. Keaton Slovis, if he comes to BYU, this will be his third school. Flamed out at Pitt, flamed out at USC, and now he's coming to BYU. That's nothing to be excited about. Sorry, man. Like, and I know that everybody is like, oh, well, we won in the transfer portal. You didn't win in the transfer portal. Not a quarterback, you didn't. So I think this is a huge moment in time. And the fact that they waited so long, I would love to know how long they've known Jaron Hall's going to the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me that was known today. That I don't believe. I don't believe that. Barfing Chicken says, I'd be fine with a 4-win season next year. The way things have been progressing, they have started a good foundation to build a good program on top of.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean,
I'm not fine with a 4-win season.
I'm not fine with a 4-win season.
I'm just not, but I think that that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I don't care about the transfer portal. I just don't. Listen, if Keenan Peely doesn't want to be here, he'd rather go be on Rocky Top. Knock yourself out, kid. Good luck. The Barringtons want to go play for Grimes.
I don't think that BYU's in that position. I don't think that you can just say, you want to go play somewhere else, we'll see it.
But you are. You are in this position. You are, because you have no choice.
Right, but you're not Utah.
Right?
You're not Utah. You're not going out and recruiting all these guys. You're not going out and doing what they've already done, right? Like, if you had, and this is where we've disagreed a little bit, BYU doesn't have some influx of great talent coming into the program. They don't.
I don't disagree with that.
So I don't think you're in a position to say, hey, you Barringtons, you want to go to Baylor and, you guys want to play there? All right, go ahead. No, that's not how I'm approaching it at all. Hey, why do you want to go to Baylor and what are we not providing you? If I can provide you that, will you stay? That's how you should be handling it, in my opinion. Because I just don't think that you're on the same, again, you're not on the same playing field as these other schools you're competing against. Yeah. I'm not saying that the honor code or the LDS faith is some huge hurdle. They use those things as positives. But the fact of the reality is you're not just another D1 P5 school. You're not just that.
No, I think you have some hurdles. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I get fired up over this because I don't like the assertion that BYU is somehow should just be like, oh, well, this is what I say about the Jazz all the time. The Jazz are not in a position to be like, oh, well, if he doesn't want to play here, Donovan Mitchell can just go wherever the hell he wants. That you're not in that position, dude. You're not. Like, you're not the Knicks or the Bulls or the Lakers or the Celtics. You're not.
And I'll be honest with you, I'd rather see Cade Finnegan get a shot to be the starting quarterback than Keaton Slovis.
Exactly.
I'm not that guy, man. Like, I don't buy into it. I really don't. I think you have to climb the mountain now. And let's bottom it out. Like, let's find a quarterback who can be here 4 years. Let's find that next guy. Because you've had a nice little run here from Taysom to Mangum to, obviously Zachy Poo on to Jaren Hall. Like, Keaton Slovis isn't the next great BYU quarterback.
It feels like you've taken a step back.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. 513 Bearcat says, as a Cincinnati fan, I would be fine if we can win 3 or 4 wins for the first 2 years, but I need to see progress and competitiven't on the field.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
100% agree.
Absolutely. And I mean, you look at Cincinnati, you guys are in a really difficult slot because, you lose an incredibly, incredibly dynamic head coach in Luke Fickell. Like, that's tougher than any quarterback. And that he went to Wisco and, Cincinnati now is transitioning into the Big 12. Like, that's a tough loss.
Yeah.
So I would agree with that. I do. Boyd Lake says BYU has an issue at O-line that's convincing players to leave. I don't agree with that. I don't think you're not losing you're losing the Barringtons, but and that's a big loss. I mean, Clark Barrington's a hell of a lineman, but you're 3-4 guys deep here.
It's not like Jaren said, hey, the offensive line is a problem, so I'm going to the league. You know, it's not like
I don't agree that there's a problem on the offensive line.
It's not like Tyler Algier was like, oh yeah, hey, I'm leaving because the offensive line sucks. These guys, not that you're saying that, but like I guess I don't agree with that either. I don't think that guys are leaving because of the offensive line. I think guys are leaving because of NIL. I think guys are leaving because they want to get paid. Like the Barringtons want to just play together. They're brothers. You get it. The Barringtons, the Fanos, the Nakuas, like they all want to play together, and I totally respect that. I'm with that 100%. But I think that, and this is kind of where my concerns with Kalani creep in a little bit. Kalani is too nice. Always has been and always will be, in my opinion. Until he shows me that he's an outright killer in the transfer portal and he's willing to go out and like, spend money and kind of shade. I'm not saying do what Oregon did yesterday, but kind of start shading that direction a little bit. Let's go out and poach some people.
By the way, that's what this Royal Collective's about.
True.
And in a story we reported last week here on the show and on Twitter, Mitch Harper confirmed it last night that the Royal Collective is coming to BYU, and BYU will make the announcement. It's going to be interesting to see how this is set up, but this is a multi-million-dollar collective of boosters and supporters of the program that are gonna try to make a difference in BYU football.
Yeah.
We'll see how all that rolls out. I mean, it just is what it is. As we talk about breaking news here on Football at 50, that Jaren Hall is transferring to, or excuse me, he's going to the Senior Bowl. So that means he'll be going to the NFL. But that's a huge deal. Our breaking news is brought to you by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Papa Murphy's Pizza. Download the mobile app. Order on your phone. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. And don't forget the meatball marinara is back at Papa Murphy's. Get that cheese pizza. Get those meatballs.
Do it.
Put them on the cheese pizza. It's the best way to do it, man. I'm telling you, this is a huge moment in time for Kalani Sitaki and BYU, and the fact that Jaren Hall is going to the Senior Bowl. Boy, this one is a little difficult to digest now because, I have to believe, and we were told earlier this week that Keaton Slovis is coming to BYU, and we haven't reported it because we haven't been able to confirm it. And just texting with other BYU sources, nobody's been able to confirm it. I know he's been on campus. I know that he's toured the school and the football facilities. I know they've had routine contact with Keaton Slovis. But Keaton Slovis has not officially joined BYU. He's not, as far as I've been told, he's not enrolled at school for the coming semester. But I have to believe that Keaton Slovis is your starting quarterback next year. And that's great. It's in the Big 12. That's great. You have a guy with experience, but I think you need to invest in who's on the roster now. And that to me is really scary because I don't think you have a guy here.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't think you have a guy. You don't have a Devin Leary. You don't have a DJ Uyunglele, who you can see starting for you for multiple years. You don't have that guy, and those are the best available quarterbacks in the portal. A Grayson McCall to me is the guy that I hope you're chasing. The transfer from Coastal Carolina. Brennan Armstrong for Virginia, he's out there. Absolutely, Brennan Armstrong's a possibility if I'm BYU.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just don't see that Hudson Carr is leaving Texas to come to BYU. I don't see that. The biggest issue now is that like a guy like Spencer Sanders, who is, I think, the best quarterback in the portal, in my opinion, is he really going to leave Stillwater for Provo? I would love to see Spencer Sanders be the 1 year. If we're doing a 1 year stopgap quarterback at BYU, I want it to be Spencer Sanders. I don't want it to be Keaton Slovis with all due respect.
Right.
Give me Grayson McCall or give me Spencer Sanders. I don't want Keaton Slovis. I know that guy. I've seen that movie already. And I know that Keaton Slovis is an average quarterback. When you're going into the Big 12, you need a prolific passer. You need somebody that can step in, be graceful under pressure, and run or deliver the football.
Yeah.
And to me, that's Spencer Sanders. That's Grayson McCall. That is not Keaton Slovis.
Yeah.
He's had multiple opportunities to do that, and he's not been able to come through and get that job done. So for me, I don't know. The next week is going to be critically important to BYU because the next quarterback has to be in here learning the system, building chemistry and camaraderie. That's a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it's just, to me, this is a crazy time. Everybody expects it to be Keaton Slovis.
That's unfortunate,
that's not the end of the world. He's just not a guy that's individually going to win you games. I think that's the thing that really stands out.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that's going to individually win you games. Football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour is presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. The meatball marinara is back at Papa Murphy's.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do meatballs and marinara.
Papa Murphy's does meatballs?
Oh, I think you mean I do the meatballs and marinara?
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it?
Oh, well, we do it with savory ground beef
Covered in tangy marinara. That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
And don't forget the meatballs.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25. And here's what I'm telling you, friends. Order that cheese pizza on a regular crust and get the marinara meatballs, chop them up, put them on the pizza. It's bomb.
Yeah.
It is absolutely my favorite Papa Murphy's pizza of the year. I love it. Hook it up. Make sure you use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Roris says Slovin is a statue-type pocket passer with mediocre arm talent, and he's just not accurate under pressure. He's not accurate rolling the pocket. He's not that guy, pal.
Yeah.
Like he is not that guy. And I want him to be. I want him to be that guy.
Well,
but he's not that guy.
Yeah, and I just think that again, it's just right now, unless there's some change, unless there's some big pickup in recruiting for BYU, it's just adding up to, okay, you lost some offensive line talent. Your starting quarterback went to the league, and now you're going to replace him with an average talent in Keaton Slovis. You don't really have, with all due respect to Chris Brooks and company back there, you don't really have some dynamic running back there like Tyler Algier was. What is it that you're doing on offense right now? You know what I mean? That's what I am really concerned about.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I don't know that they know. I would hope. And here's the problem. If this is Nick Saban, if this is Oregon NIL money, if this is Kyle Whittingham, I don't worry about this.
Yeah.
But what I've seen in the program for the last 6 months terrifies me. It terrifies me. This is when we talk about where the depths that this program fell to this year, those 4 straight losses and not many answers and no, like how all of a sudden have you gone from a dearth of quarterbacks to none? You do not have a quarterback. I would assume with Jared Hall going to the Senior Bowl that he's going to the draft. How do you not have depth at quarterback? And, again, I'm telling you, and I'm not a football coach, Cade Fennigan to be my starter today right now. I would give A-Rod the next 8 months to get Cade Fennigan ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens in spring. 8 months, Cade's the guy. That's where I go. I'm not doing this whole can't throw, let's run. I'm not doing that, right? I just am.
Well, and let's be real about what we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be doing, it's a quarterback competition.
No, it's not.
We're letting them compete. Sol J needs an opportunity, right? No. What we need is to be prepared for kickoff in the Big 12. And this is where I'm telling you, this is where Kalani is concerning to me. I love the guy. Hear me clearly. Love the guy. Love what he does overall in the big picture with the program. But when we talk about being a killer, when we talk about doing what's right to allow you to win football games, there are a lot of times where he won't do that. He wants to say, oh, well, we're going to have a competition and best man's going to win. And, we'll see how it plays out. And then you wind up doing Sol J for 5 weeks before Cade even gets a sniff. You know what I mean? Like, that's my problem. So, yeah, you don't have to worry about this with Kyle Whittingham. You certainly don't worry about this with the Sabinator or Dabo or whoever you want to look to, Luke Fickle or Jimbo. Like, you don't worry about it with these big time guys because they're just cold blooded about it. They just do what needs to be done to play their best talent. That's it.
Yeah, it's a little scary. It really is a little scary. Lopes fan gives us a $25 Christmas gift. He says, Merry Christmas, casuals. Next round of hot cocoa on me. Appreciate that,
man. Appreciate that, Gabe.
Good to see you. Fennigan is that guy. Well, right now, because, again, Solje Mayava Peters is not the guy that you're like, oh, yeah, got to have it, right? Jacob Conover's gone. I don't even know who else you would go for.
Who has the best chance to be that guy? I think Cade has the best chance to be that guy.
6'2", 190 pounds, like the guy can really throw the football. I don't understand this whole philosophy at BYU of not giving quarterbacks opportunities. Like, what are they doing here? Are you doing nothing to develop those guys? Is Cade Fennigan been in the program now? Have you done nothing to develop him? Is that what we're saying you've done? He's just not that guy. He's not ready. Because Conover, you didn't believe in him. You didn't give Jacob Conover, even in my opinion, an opportunity to show what he can do.
Yeah.
And if what we saw out of Solje is what he is, that's not a quarterback that's ready to go. So I don't know what the answer to that is. The thing that concerns you is you have a lot of tumult and turnover at a really critical time in your history.
Yeah.
When you're going into the Big 12, right? The guys on defense don't bother me whatsoever. The offensive line, I think you're so deep in the offensive line room that I don't think it's even – I don't think you're that worried about it. I honestly don't. You got to get better at running back, and you've got to go and get 2 quarterbacks that can be your starting quarterbacks. And if that's what Keaton Slovis is here to do, I'm fine with that. If he's going to lose that job and if you want to make Cade Fennigan prove he can beat out Keaton Slovis, if Cade Fennigan can't beat out Keaton Slovis, he's probably not a big-time quarterback anyway. Because you know who that guy is.
Yeah.
You know who that guy is.
Yeah.
I have a better arm than what Solje showed in the bowl game,
I agree.
Jeremy Bolton says.
I agree.
I believe you do.
Yes.
Actually. I believe you do. Kurt Meyer says, let's LFG back at you. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know if he's coming.
It's just frustrating. I want Kalani to just be like, yes, we're going this direction. Like, why can't we just say, hey, this is how we're doing it, and have it be a guy who's a prolific thrower and runs second. Did you not learn your lesson with Jaron Hall? Right? When he was run first, how'd that work out for you against Baylor?
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't. I don't, yeah. I'm telling you, Cade Finnegan's my guy. Right now, Cade Finnegan's my guy. Boyd Lake says Hudson Card would be fine, so would Sanders. I think Sanders would be awesome. Roris already read that one. Ron Pastook said it's hard to replace a star quarterback. Look what happened to us at OU when we went 6-6. Well, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. But and to be fair,
yeah,
at OU, you put in a new coach. You lost Lincoln Riley. He took Caleb. He took other guys off that roster. Like
we built this program on NIL.
I can almost understand what happened with Venables and OU. Like,
yeah,
that was a lot to overcome.
There's a reason.
At BYU, it's kind of frustrating that this happened here now. Like, it is, and what I mean by that is you had a really difficult, I don't care about the transfer portal. I think everybody's panicking over the transfer portal.
What do you mean by that? You don't care about it. What is that?
It makes sense for Keenan Peely to go to Tennessee. He needs to show that he belongs as a number one linebacker in the biggest program in the country. And if Tennessee's the biggest joint that he could get to, okay, great. The Barringtons want to play together. And Clark, I don't understand why he would go back to college. That's a mistake. You got a multi-million-dollar paycheck sitting on the table and you said no. That's a mistake. I think they want to play together and they think they can go to Grimy at Baylor and they can start together. Okay, great. My guess is Clark and Campbell transfer because Campbell wasn't going to start. That'd be my guess. I don't know that to be true. But this offensive line room in Provo is way deep. I'm not worried about the offensive line at all. And if you've got other guys, like, is there anybody really upset about going to Colorado State? Who cares?
I don't think it matters where these guys go. I think what matters is the mentality around the transfer portal out of Kalani and this staff, because it doesn't really feel like there's an aggressiveness in the transfer portal. It doesn't really feel like they're getting after it, in my opinion.
I don't know. That's something we need to ask about for certain. Breaking news this morning, Jaron Hall accepts a bid to play in the Senior Bowl, which essentially means he's going to the NFL. So who is BYU's next quarterback? Please go ahead and hit that like button right now. It really helps the channel grow. We've got just about 1,000 views on the channel this morning for our live show in the first 2 hours, and we're only at 65 likes. So if you guys could help us pump those rookie numbers up, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
We always try to get to a minimum of 150 likes per show. We're at 65. So we need 85 more likes to get to our number. Let's hook it up. Hit the like button. Don't forget Max Tooley, BYU linebacker, coming up in 20 minutes. He announced yesterday on Twitter that he is coming back for another season in Provo, which I think is exactly the right move. I think he's a critically important part of this defense. Obviously, we know he's a ball hawk. He's a playmaker. So absolutely good to have him back. But this is a big story at BYU now, especially, coming out of signing day and, seeing where the transfer portal's at. I think that's a big one. That's absolutely a big one. And there are guys that are available. I am not a DJ Uiagalelei guy. I am not a believer. And as much as we were joking about, Dabo, if you can't play for Dabo at quarterback,
program.
I mean, he doesn't want you there. You're probably not the guy we want in our program.
Yeah.
But he's a phenomenal athlete, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I think, there are a lot of quarterbacks available in the portal. There is.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, why are we messing around with Keaton Slovis? Like, go and find a guy. I'm not saying that you certainly can compete with the top of all quarterbacking talent. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you're telling me out of all those guys that are available, there's not one in the top 30 that you're interested in. There's not one that maybe needs some work, right? But you can go and get, and he can be what you need him to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, Grayson McCall's a stud. I mean, I mean, he's throwing for 6,300 yards, 60 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions at Coastal.
Yeah,
the kid's a stud, man. Like that he would be my guy. Like, I think that's a guy who can go to BYU, up his draft stock, get into the NFL, and he can perform. Like, Grayson McCall's a guy, in my opinion, who can step in and perform right away. So that he's absolutely who I would go with. I think there's a lot to be excited about at BYU. The coaching changes. You got a phenomenal defensive line coach. I just think you have a lot to be excited about. This quarterback position, I think I follow BYU closely, as close as anybody else. I think I'm stunned that Jaren Hall's not coming back. On the timeline,
yeah,
I understand why he's going pro. I think we've talked about this. We've chopped this up a lot, but it is really surprising that he's not coming back. It is one of those things where you hear about it and you're like, dude, that's a big freaking deal. He's not coming back.
What were you waiting for, bud?
That's a big deal.
Why were you sitting on your hands waiting? What was the strategy there? That's what I don't get.
Yeah, I don't know why you waited so long.
And we'll probably never know how long BYU has known that he was going to the league, right? We'll probably never know that. But I'm telling you, if it was any more than 10 days ago, that's a problem.
Yeah. Rora says, DJ, I think you mean Uyunglele, has a cannon for an arm. He just needs a competent QB coach. Dabo and his cousins dependent on Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence's natural ability to make them look good. I've talked to Trevor Lawrence about this directly. That guy says that he was vastly improved, and I agree with it. I agree. I covered him very closely at ESPN during his time, the last 2 years at Clemson, and he developed significantly. And I think what you're seeing now is that development's taken another step under Doug Peterson at Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I think that DJ Uyunglele has never been able to mentally pick up the game. And I know people love the athletic ability and the physical attributes, but I think DJ's a guy that's got to figure out how to mentally pick up the game of football. And there's a lot of quarterbacks that struggle with that. And when you get the run that he got immediately and the hype that he had and you struggle mightily, he's not an accurate passer. He doesn't understand what the defense is trying to do to him. That's why I think he's still in the portal. Because, by the way, it was also a very ugly divorce. It was also a very ugly divorce.
Yeah, it was.
So, I think it'll be interesting to see exactly where DJ ends up. But, again, I'm telling you, the best quarterbacks in the portal, in my opinion. If I'm BYU, Grayson McCall. And listen, Brennan Armstrong's no slouch at Virginia. But Brennan I don't think is on par with Grayson McCall. And I love Spencer Sanders. I do.
Yeah.
I think Hudson Carr showed he's as tough as nails at Texas, but how does that get away?
Yeah.
How does that get away?
That's how it gets away. Getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Jeremy Bolton says the best misspellings of BYU QBs in history. Taysom Hill. What do you mean misspellings? Did I misspell Jaren Hall? Is that what happened here? I don't think I misspelled Jaren Hall. I didn't misspell Reese's either. Are you proud of me? I didn't misspell Reese's.
Yeah, good job, dude.
Taysom, Tyler Mangum, Jalen. Oh, yeah, okay. I got you. And then Roscoe Mendenhall. There's a lot of Jalen Hall.
Yeah.
There is a lot of Jalen. And that's spoken word. Good old Rod Gilmore at ESPN.
Rod.
Good old Tyler Mangum. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. I heard Jalen Hall several times. Several times. No doubt about it. I don't know what to make of this. Anyway, all right, Max Tooley in 15 minutes. Is the transfer portal good for college football? You know what? I think it is. I think NIL is a huge problem for college football. College football has got to find a way to I'm not going to say regulate because I hate that, but you've got to find a way to put a system in place that facilitates everybody having an opportunity. And I agree that if your booster pool is bigger than Jimmy down the street, you should have a better opportunity. I totally get that. Phil Knight can't be buying talent the way Oregon looks to have bought talent, in my opinion.
We built this program on NIL.
Yeah, you did. But you look at the haul, the absolute haul that Oregon got. And you start to understand, I think they were 13th in the country or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But you start to look at how do you flip a recruit at that level? How do you do that?
You know how you do it, with money and opportunity.
And listen, Oregon, this is by far the best class that Oregon has ever had. This class is probably 25% better than any Chip Kelly Oregon class, right? By the way, Chip had a phenomenal class at UCLA.
Uh-huh.
But when you start looking at guys that flipped, by the way, Mateo Uiagalelei is going to Oregon, the edge rusher who is DJ's brother. But you look at some of the guys that have flipped, and you start to understand how that happened. Come on now. That's
again,
not.
What are you going to do about it? College football
Nothing.
has never been about give everybody an opportunity. That's not what college football has ever been. College football has been the haves and have-nots for generations. Look no further than the college football playoff. It's been going on for how long? And we're just now expanding it? If you wanted everyone to have a chance, you would have never done 4 teams in the college football playoff. So my point with that is just, I don't think that college football or the guys who control college football or vote on this stuff are going to be we need to kind of put a cap on how much these schools can spend, because they know more than we know. They know how much the Sabanators spending. They know how much Dabo and Jimbo and Luke Fickell are going to spend, right? They know these things. And to me, where it gets kind of difficult, or where the water gets kind of muddy, is, I do like that these kids can make a bunch of money. I do, because they're essentially playing a pro sport and not at a pro lifestyle, because they're on a college campus.
Look, I'm telling you that you look at a kid like Peyton Bowen, and not because he was going to Notre Dame. Peyton Bowen was a hard commit to Notre Dame. That was done. An hour before yesterday ended, all of a sudden he's an Oregon Duck. That doesn't accidentally happen, especially when nobody saw him going to Oregon. It was Notre Dame or Oklahoma, and somehow Peyton Bowen winds up at Oregon. There's only one way that happens. Hey, what did you get there? We'll double it. That's how that happens. And I don't think that's good for college football. I actually think it's terrible for college football.
Why is it bad for college football?
Because I think that when you have an arms race, it feeds the top of the food chain. And for the sake of college football, I think you need parity across, as much parity as possible. You look at the ACC, I jokingly call the ACC the already crowned Clemson Conference.
And that's how I look at it.
That's what the ACC is, right? I mean, that's Clemson's conference every single year. You can't have that. I think when you look at the Big 12, you look at the Pac-12, if Oregon doesn't win the Pac-12 this coming year, it's a massive upset.
Yeah.
It's a massive upset. With the fact that you look at the transfer portal, and that they got Trayshawn Holden to leave Alabama with Kyrie Jackson, who both left Alabama. Where'd they end up? Uncle Phil. They went to Oregon. You can't tell me that that's not a money play. That absolutely is a money play. Now, having said that, Alabama's got the best recruiting class in the country, and I'm not even sure that you can argue that.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that Alabama struggles in the transfer portal and still winds up with the best recruiting class in the country. Well, it's because they're Alabama, it's Nick Saban, and people want to win. And people want to go to the NFL. But, again, I simply tell you that when you can land guys like Caleb Downs easily and for a long time, that's who Alabama is.
This is Coach Saban.
Right? When you get multiple 5-star recruits, when you get James Smith, the defensive lineman from Montgomery, and you look at James Smith, and I think James Smith is one of the best, and I'm not trying to talk about guys specifically because you don't care about that. He is one of the best defensive linemen in the country, and he has been since 7th grade. He was never going anywhere but Alabama. So can Oregon go to this kid and say, hey, here's $1 million and all the free Jordans you want. Do you want to come to Oregon?
No,
Yeah,
I want to play for Alabama.
Well, he's probably going to stay at Alabama, but they can go and do that, and I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the exact way to go about it. I don't think that's the right way to go about it. I really don't.
I'm here for the conversation around, hey, once a kid commits, you can't speak to him. I'm here for that. I can get down with that. But I think that it's fairy dust or fairyland to sit here and be like, well, it's not a capitalistic thing. It's not like, hey, Uncle Phil, shouldn't be able to use all of his resources because that's not fair to Jackson State, or that's not fair to
Well, I don't
whoever.
care about Jackson State.
Like
I
whoever,
don't.
like Notre Dame, whatever.
If Oregon's going to outspend Iowa State,
yeah,
and if Oregon's going to go to Iowa State commits and say, hey, we'll double whatever Iowa State's giving you, that's a problem. That is a huge problem because all that's doing is stocking the biggest programs in the country. And I just don't think that's not a level playing field.
But let me ask you this, though. Seriously, has college football ever been a level playing field?
Yes.
How?
Yes, because I think when you look at historically the way college football has been played, I mean, you used to be able to say, okay, well, I want to stay home, or I want to be close to home, or you're buying kids and you're essentially treating them like professional athletes. That's not how things had been done. And I'm not saying we need to do things the way we've always done.
Right.
I'm in favor of name, image, likeness. I think kids should get paid. But what's happening is these kids are getting abused. They're getting money, sure, but that's not necessarily what's best for them. You're talking about kids from the inner cities of Miami and Florida, where poverty is a real thing. You're handing them $50,000, $100,000, $500,000. Do you not think that's going to be detrimental to their long-term viability as football players and men?
Why? Okay, I agree that someone who's never had money and then all of a sudden comes into money
at 17, 18 years old.
You need to have, I agree that in college football, there should be some structure and some, I don't know if the word is regulation, but just like rules or structure or regulation around, hey, where that money sits and where it goes until you're done with college, right? Or like how much access you have to your money on a weekly basis. Because you can't have a kid get, a $500,000 check and access that in one week.
But what you're seeing out of these kids is, here's your brand new car, here's your luxury condo, here's your $30,000 upfront payment on your $1 million a year NIL money.
Yep.
Go shoot these 3 commercials. And then, by the way, don't be late for football practice. What have I not said yet? Well, make sure you get to class. Make sure you... At what point... And I know we talk about education on this show a lot. By the way, Max Tooley scheduled to join us in 5 minutes here on the program.
Yeah.
But at what point do we say to a kid from Lakeland, Florida, or from Miami, Florida, who is in a single-parent home and frankly, what we're seeing is a lot of kids that can't afford to feed themselves most days.
Yeah.
Right? Those are real situations. At what point do we say that to that kid, hey, it's cool, you're going to make $1 million a year, but you got to get a degree. You got to set yourself up for the future. You got to learn things that you haven't had access to. You have access to an education that you likely in a lot of cities in this country have never had access to. And I know that this is me being virtuous, and I totally understand that. At what point does the long-term viability as that kid, as a human being, matter? We're throwing millions of dollars, and it's literally millions of dollars at kids.
Yeah.
We're throwing millions of dollars at kids. What was the Dalton Kincaid story? Alabama allegedly, supposedly offered him $5 million to come play at Alabama. This kid is not even in the portal. He's just a kid that's a phenomenal tight end for Utah. You threw $5 million at him.
Yeah.
Is that the way that we should be going about this? That's not right. That's not good. That's not good for the kid, and that's not good for college football. I'm telling you now. Because, and you look at the TV money that's coming in, college football is turning into the Big Ten and the SEC. That's what college football is turning into. Because I got news for you.
Yeah.
You wanna look at recruiting classes? You want to look at who made headway? and you want to talk about, oh, well, look at this school and that school. The big boys won yesterday. Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Miami, and Ohio State were the top 5. LSU 6, Oregon 7, Notre Dame, Tennessee round out the top 10.
Yeah.
That's that. And by the way, SC is 15th, right? Michigan is 17th. Utah's 22nd. The big boys are winning. The blue bloods are winning because they have more money.
Yes.
They have more resources. They have more alumni.
Yeah.
They're bigger universities.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know. I guess I'm just a little bit different on it. I think that I agree 100%. The education that the kid gets matters. But how many times out of professional athletes, like Larry Fitzgerald, just as an example that I can think of, 3 years ago or 5 years ago, I think it was, he announced that he had finished his degree and his education. And, how many times do we hear guys do that nowadays? Hey, I need to prioritize winning football games. But then, after I'm done with football, I'm going to get my education in the offseason at the pro level. So I kind of go back and forth on this. I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying, but if I'm from the inner cities and I'm struggling to feed myself, I'm taking the bag. I'm taking it. And hopefully, kids have some sense of, hey, I don't want to mess this up. I need to get someone to help me with my money a little bit here, Hopefully kids have that sense, but I still think that's virtuistic, right? Like the reality is kids going to be like, hey, I just got paid. Let me go and get that Lambo. Like that's what kids are going to do.
Let me go get the ice on the gold. Let me go put some diamonds on gold chains. Let me go get some, 2-carat diamond studs for my ears. Like that's what I'm worried about.
So I think if you were to bring in some regulation on, hey, this is how much access you have to the money while you're enrolled at a university or while you're playing college football, I would be down for that. But I can't get on board with the, hey, everyone's got to have a fair chance. That's not how the world works. That's not how college football works.
And I'm not saying everybody should have a fair chance. There's a reason that we have FBS, SCS, historically black colleges. Like,
right.
There's all of those groupings, right? But when we're talking about universities throwing $5 million at a kid that has no desire to transfer, and he's playing a high level at Utah, and again, if you don't know the story, there's a rumor out there that a school offered Dalton Kincaid $5 million to transfer.
Yeah.
$5 million.
I'm with you. You shouldn't be able to call, Down Holker, let's say, and be like, hey, dude, we'd like you to come here or there. You shouldn't be able to call Dalton Kincaid or Cam Rising when they're in their program ready to go. And, you just shouldn't be able to do that.
I agree with that. All right. Without further ado, let's talk some BYU football with a guy who's actually staying at BYU. Is he frozen? He's frozen. We'll get Max back on. Max hopped on, but now Max is frozen. So we'll
try that again.
Yeah, we'll try that again. There he is. Is there?
Sorry.
There's Maximus. There's my guy. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man.
Hey,
let's talk a little breaking news. Give me your thoughts on Jaron Hall going to the Senior Bowl. Did you hear about that today?
Yeah, I actually just saw a tweet about it. So, I mean, I'm proud for the guy. We lived together. I don't know if I've told you before. We lived together for 2 years, beginning of our experience here at BYU. We shared a room, so we go back. Yeah, me and Jaron go back. So I'm always happy to see my good friends succeed, and I want the best for him. So.
One of the interesting things, and we're sitting here talking about this now, Max, is that the transfer portal and NIL, especially on early signing day yesterday, and did you ever look at the transfer portal? Have you been committed? Because you're coming back in an era where a lot of kids don't come back. They either get in the transfer portal, they go to the NFL, they go to Timbuktu, whatever, right? They take paydays. Did you ever look at the transfer portal? And are you a transfer portal guy? Do you like it? Do you believe in it?
I have friends that have had success in the transfer portal, and I think the transfer portal could work for anybody if you're in the right situation. And, especially in this time of NIL and whatnot, people are transferring like whatever. And, it's obviously tempting. I think anybody would be tempted if you could make some money. But when it comes down to it, I feel like I've always needed to be at BYU. It's been my dream, and I feel like the stars should align this year, and we should have a killer year this year. So I'm excited.
Did you ever consider it? Did you ever look at the portal? I mean, how would you not? But did you ever consider it?
I mean, there was a time where, I was graduating. Things were going to work out. Where if that was an option, I would have to look into that for sure. But ultimately, Kalani's believed in me, and I've had a good relationship with Kalani. And I've seen his dedication to me as a player this last year develop. So, I feel like there's nothing wrong with coming back and giving it another year here. And there's a lot to look forward here.
How are you physically? I know obviously you missed some time at the end of the year. How are you feeling physically right now?
Yeah, I'm in a little sling. Oh, sorry, it's inverted. But
hey, there you go.
A little sling. So I'm learning to work one-handed for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm two weeks out of surgery right now on my labrum. So not really in playing shape, but we'll be back. We'll be back for next year. We'll be back in a couple months. So.
Funny thing is, my wife broke her shoulder snowboarding 2 weeks ago, so she's rocking that same sling, bro. I've learned more about combing long hair in the last 2 weeks than I knew in my life or I've ever cared to know in my life. So
exactly. I'm learning to work one-handed, shower and stuff. So it's a process, but
yes, indeed it is. Max Tooley's our guest here on the Monty Show. Hey, the obviously you guys went through a lot this year, injuries and otherwise. The thing that I never got my hands around is why you guys couldn't stop the run. And it seems like obviously you were a guy that was around the football. Last time we had you on the show, we talked about the expectations of pick six, multiple pick sixes every quarter from you, not just in a game. Like you had a really good year. I thought in pass coverage, the unit was really good. But why were you guys not able to stop the run?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of everything, a little bit. Some games we were missing guys on the D-line, and that played a big part. And other times we're just not as quite assignment sound. We weren't wrapping up. Games like Oregon come to my head where there was just so many missed tackles. Like, granted, we are playing against great athletes and the guys that play for Oregon, but games like that defensively where we just kind of got embarrassed from the fundamentals. Same with Liberty. So I think, I don't know, it was just, we just needed to figure out how to play. Everyone on the team knew how to do it. And so I think it was a matter of coming together and, coming and winning those last 4 games was strong, and finishing strong defensively was solid. So.
But let's be honest, Jay Hill saying that we're not doing drop 8, rush 3, that's not really my style, which is not a direct quote, but that's essentially what he said. Are you excited about a new system? Because I think you're better when you're playing 100 miles an hour with your hair on fire. You're in the backfield, you're making plays. I mean, that seems to me for you specifically, but as a unit on a whole, if you guys are much more aggressive, it feels like that's better for your group. Are you excited about what Jay Hill brings to the table?
Yeah, I am. Jay Hill, he's the man. I'm actually pretty close with his daughter, so I've had a relationship with the Hills for a second. And, I've always appreciated what he's done at Weber State for a smaller school, seen the success he's had. But, yeah, like you're saying, his style is aggressive, and that's what he's claiming. So, someone like me where, I feel like I can thrive in a pass rush setting or, coming off the edge. I feel like I'll thrive in this sort of system. So I'm excited to see what's in store for us.
Does just changing the coaching staff, and obviously, you guys have some personnel changes, the guys that are going to stand next to you at linebacker, obviously with Peely going to Tennessee, like we're going to see some new names and numbers out there, but does changing the coaching staff fix the problems that ailed this defense last year? Because one of the other things that you told me specifically about was accountability, that you believe in a high level of accountability and you felt like there was that. Do you guys need a much higher level of accountability than you had last year?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, when you're losing, 4 games, 5 games in a year, you need a reality check, and you need to, figure the little things out, the disciplinary things. And I think, little things like having the same coaches for multiple years can cause complacency in guys. So in a way, I think having new coaches could fix a lot of the problems, because guys are going to be excited to work for new guys who are pumped up for them, see big plans in the future for them. So I think everyone will just rally around that fact and just get better in the littlest ways individually this offseason. So,
it's interesting you talk about losing 4 or 5 games a year. Haven't we changed the bar, though? Haven't we risen the bar? Like, having expectations in your time in the program, like, you guys didn't win 10 games, and people were pissed about it. Like, the expectations have changed in Provo.
No, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I mean is that, when you're used to winning 10 games a season the last 2 years, and then you go to losing 4, it's pretty drastic. Or losing 5, I guess. I got to give us a little less credit. But, yeah, it gets a little more drastic. It feels like a lot more of a failure of a season, even though we were bowl eligible, we won our bowl game. There was a point in this season where it kind of seemed a little bit lost, probably during that 4-game losing streak. But, it doesn't really matter how you start. It just matters how you finish the season. So I think we have that to build upon and, just to get better and build from that last game. So.
Max, a difficult question I think I have to ask you, though, is Kalani Sitaki tough enough? Because one of the things we've talked a lot about on this show is like the 70-point opportunities that you guys have had, where you guys, it seems like you get nice because, hey, the game's over. Are you guys tough enough? Is Kalani tough enough? Do you have that ability to really stomp an opponent out at the end of a game to prove a point about who you guys are?
Man, that's I think kind of the conflict with Kalani. He's all about sportsmanship in class, but when it comes down to it, that stuff isn't always by the books or kosher when it's coming to the end of the game and you're up big against a team you need to impress. So I think Kalani oftentimes feels conflicted, but everyone knows how Kalani is. He's a real dude, and he's going to be the same way in the interviews and whatnot as he is in person. And I think. I've seen firsthand how intense Kalani can get. So, I have full doubt that he'll take over. He's been doing a great job his whole time here. So I think he'll only learn more and get better with experience. But I think going into the Big 12, playing big teams week in and week out, there's no room for complacency and, being nice in sportsmanship. We're gonna have to come every week. So yeah. And we're going to have to put up those big numbers. And if we're beating those guys, then we got to beat them big. It's one of those things.
Listen, there's no bigger fan of Kalani than me. Don't mistake the question. The reason I say that is, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think when you're a BYU football team, there's a lot of people who simply read box scores. We know that there are AP voters who are soccer writers and who never watch college football. And they're like, they struggled against Wyoming. Whereas if you'd have beat Wyoming 72-10, they'd be like, all right, well, let's bump them up. That's why I asked the question, because I don't know that perception, Tooley, is the same thing as reality at BYU.
Yeah, that's honestly fair. And I think, you can look at games like Wyoming and I think, like Wyoming is Wyoming. Like we should have just throttled them. But, we were down a lot of guys that game. I didn't even play that game. And Wyoming was a good team. They were a solid Mountain West team this year. So I think when you really look at our schedule, and there's some embarrassing losses there. We played some good teams and we lost to some good teams. Liberty, Arkansas, they're all solid teams. Liberty may not have finished the season as well as they wanted to, but when they were at full strength, they were kind of balling this year. So you
should have won those games. If we're being honest,
that's not an excuse or anything. We definitely should have won. I think we should have gone undefeated this year, but
Probably should have covered Michael Mayer. I mean, I'm just a talk show host. I'll stop. Let me ask you about being a linebacker or a safety, because one of the things I watch a lot of your tape. I've watched you play a lot of games. I think in the NFL, you translate to a safety. How many times have you had that conversation, and how much do you love being a linebacker versus a safety?
It's kind of bounced back and forth. Certain people see me different ways. And I've never really been in a true safety role at BYU or at a higher level of football. So it's kind of hard to say how I would do it, like a safety position. But I don't know. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, I feel like I like contact and physical, interaction way too much to, be at the back end. Even the few practices I had at free throughout my career, I've just I don't know. I get a little antsy back there, Yeah. Maybe in a really dope scheme, it would be fun. But I don't know. I think my goal right now is just to try to get a little bit bigger and play at linebacker. I feel like I have the strengths to be able to be a quick, athletic linebacker. And in this day and age, I feel like that's pretty important. So,
well, and I think the thing that you bring is you have ball skills. I think your intelligence level puts you at where you have an odd ability that I just don't think we see much with guys that are built like you. You know where the football is going. And it's not, and I'm sure that you're prepared, but dude, you just have that instinct, and then you have that ability to hit the gas and go to that spot. That to me is what you're special at. How do you put on more weight? How do you put on more muscle, but not lose that quick twitch and that speed?
Yeah, I think that's the key, is just finding a way to be able to inch your way up on the weight scale and not lose any of that, intensity or speed that you have at a lower weight. So I think, it's a process, it's a long off season. I'm kind of just sitting around right now. So it's kind of nice. I just eat and work out my legs and whatnot. So, I think with the Big 12 and everything, though, I just feel like our program's heading in just a way better direction, that a lot of these things will be a lot more accessible and easier to complete, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally agree with you, man. Well, hey, good to see you. I appreciate you jumping on with a broken wing there, Maximus. But
yes,
always good to talk to you, my guy, and I look forward to doing it again. Good luck in your rehab on the shoulder.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet. See you later. That's Max Tooley right there. Good dude. I'm telling you, I'm a huge believer in that guy. You see guys, and that's a great answer on being a linebacker versus a safety, because you could tell that guy craves contact.
Yeah.
And I think that when you hear him talk about, hey, he's got a shoulder issue now, I guarantee you those shoulders are going to be jacked and ready to rock and roll when he gets through his summer program, because I just think he's such an important part of that program.
Yeah.
But a couple of things that are interesting out of that conversation is the expectations at BYU have changed. And you can hear the disappointment in his voice at 8-5.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the expectations have changed. And I think, once again, BYU football players are excellent in the interview at saying what they need to say without saying it. And I think that Max Tooley, love the guy, and love what he said about Kalani. I think that he said, Kalani cares about culture and sportsmanship and being nice, but also that there isn't a lot of room for that in the Big 12.
There really isn't.
True. And if I had my way, I don't think there's room for it in independence, if I'm being honest. If you want to do anything as an independent, you need to crush souls. That's just what it is. So,
well, and that soccer writer in Minneapolis, we always get frustrated about. I think it's absolutely the case. It's absolutely the case that those guys don't watch BYU football. I think it's absolutely the case that those guys look at box scores and they see a tough Wyoming game and they're like, BYU's not legit. BYU's not real.
That's Wyoming. How did they struggle with Wyoming?
Exactly, because they don't know about Wyoming.
But it turns out Wyoming's got a 250-pound running back that ran linebackers over all year and was really tough to stop. So it just That's a tough part. So that's why I say I think going to the Big 12, that's where you're going to get a lot of improvement because that kind of guy's not going to have a choice but to go and watch the game tape because you were playing K-State or, you were playing Texas or, who the hell ever, right? But the point is that you're not playing Wyoming anymore.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I think that helps you.
All of our college football talk, BYU, Utah, and, of course, the Pac-12. Big 12. We talk a ton of college football on the show, presented by our good friends at Barbecue Pit Stop, bbqpitstop.com. Make sure you find any of their 5 locations throughout Utah, Layton, Logan, Lehigh, St. George, and, of course, our good friends in Salt Lake City, Murray, right there on State Street across from the mall. Your holiday shopping headquarters for any guy in your life, Barbecue Pit Stop, man. And I think obviously we say it all the time, but when you want the best equipment, absolutely, you're getting that at Barbecue Pit Stop, whether it's Traeger, Big Green Egg, Yoder, they've got your hookup at Barbecue Pit Stop, but they've also got every rub, seasoning, spice you need. If you're doing wings, go in there and tell them, hey, Monty said to ask you guys for wing dust. Wing dust is unbelievable. If your wife is a cauliflower wing person, like my wife is, they have cauliflower wing dust that is, out of this world, dude. Absolutely spectacular at Barbecue Pit Stop. It's not too late. It's only the 22nd. Get to any of their 5 stores, Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and, of course, our good friends in Murray, which is where we got our Traeger grill. At the Barbecue Pit Stop in Murray. They have all kinds of great gifts for you, and you can always shop online at bbqpitstop.com. I see a lot of people, including Steve and Brett, and a lot of people Brent saying it's nice when you guys get guests. We don't do a lot of guests because we don't put on average Joe beat writer. We just don't do that. And facts. We have, we get Max Tooley when hey, I'm coming back. We get that from our guys at Coug Connect because we really only like talking to principals, players, coaches, people directly involved in situations. We're not going to do average Joe beat writer. We're not doing that. That's not what the Monty Show is about. You guys know that when we put on a guest, it's usually a Logan Fano yesterday, who is a huge story in Utah sports. Yeah. We'll put on a Max Tooley to talk about his good friend, Jaron Hall, entering, or accepting a bid to go to the Senior Bowl. That's the kind of interview that we do. And we couldn't do that at BYU without our good friends at Coug Connect, cougconnect.com. Make sure that if you want to support BYU, there's only one collective that deserves your money, and it is cougconnect.com, $10 a month. That money goes right back to the players. So please support our guys at cougconnect.com because they're doing it right. Making shirts, making money for players, supporting players throughout their seasons. All athletes at BYU, not just football and basketball, but Coug Connect does it right. You can subscribe to them for $10 a month at cougconnect.com. Greg Hawkins says, what do you think BYU's record will be in the first year of the Big 12? I would be thrilled with a 5-8. I think it's going to be very difficult to be bowl eligible, Greg. You know this better than anybody. Greg's a huge Utah fan. The curve getting into the Pac-12 for Utah was steep. Yeah. The curve getting into the Big 12 for BYU is going to be even more steep. Yeah. I think it's going to be a very difficult climb. Jeremy Bolton predicts 17-0.
Well,
Program.
Kurt Meyer says, are you keep Max for next season? We'll talk. We'll talk to Max as much as he wants to come on the show. Yeah. We like that guy a lot. Brent says, BYU will be fine in the Big 12, Greg. Suspect another 8, maybe 9 wins, but the Big 12 will lose OU and Texas early, and that might change things. If BYU wins 9 games next year, Kalani Sitaki should be coach of the century because you're going to be behind the recruiting curve, and the schedule should have been out already. And for those who didn't hear the update on that, it's one of those things where they're trying to figure out what to do with Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12. Right. That's why the schedule's not out. Dom D says, can you get to relevant teams? What do you mean, man?
Okay, where are you from and who are your teams?
Yeah, Dom, where are you from?
Give us
who's
more
a relevant
dude.
team? Who do you want us to talk about?
In your opinion, who's a relevant team? And I'm being serious. I'm not even mocking you. I'm being serious. What teams do you like?
By the way, just to kind of reset, we just talked to BYU linebacker Max Tooley. That'll be posted on our YouTube channel here in about half an hour. On the news that Jaron Hall has accepted an invitation to the Reese's Senior Bowl. So Jaron Hall looks like he is headed to the NFL. we've had a long conversation about, hey, does this mean that Keaton Slovis is your next starting quarterback? I would tell you, if you're gonna embrace the suck for year one in the Big 12, give the football to Cade Fennigan and let's go see what he is. Because to me, that's the right route to take here.
Yeah.
But it's wholly dependent on what they want to do. I think that is a huge story this morning. I also think the recruiting battles in the Pac-12 are a huge story this morning. Oregon absolutely owns the Pac-12 in recruiting right now. Their signing day yesterday was nothing short of spectacular. I don't care how they got it done. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The numbers that Oregon put up yesterday. And if we're looking at the Pac-12 on a whole, there were some shocking results yesterday. Obviously, USC was number 2 in the conference. Utah was number 3. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Malachi Nelson, the Los Alamitos quarterback, the number one quarterback in the country, goes to USC. And I thought that was a huge get for Lincoln Riley. But the thing that you saw, I think Braylon Shelby, the kid out of Friendswood, Texas, is one of the best pass rushers in the country. And absolutely, positively, USC has got to fix their defense. It's why they are not going to the Rose Bowl. It's why they are not, frankly, it's why they're not in the college football playoff and why they didn't win a Pac-12 championship. You can't keep giving up 40 points to Utah and think that's going to be good enough. And how did they recruit Tackett Curtis, a kid out of Louisiana, the linebacker coming to Los Angeles to play for USC, Malik Crawford, the safety Christian Pierce from Rancho Cucamonga. Those are 2 Los Angeles area kids that could have gone anywhere. And that's why I point to Malachi Nelson. Malachi is not a kid that's going to start right away. And there's all this thought process about, hey, if a quarterback's going to go to SC, he's going to have to sit, so he's not going to go there. Well, it turns out that's not true, because Malachi is somebody that could have written his own ticket. Arizona State, Alabama, Oklahoma, and SC were all in on him. He chose USC over all of those schools. And I just think that he is an absolute stud.
Yeah.
And for Lincoln Riley to land that caliber of recruit, I think was a really good sign for SC heading into the Big Ten in 2 years. And then, of course, there's the Utah Utes. I think this was nothing short of a spectacular recruiting day for the Utah Utes. Starts with Spencer Fano. Spencer Fano.
Yeah.
He's an absolute stud. Obviously, everybody knows him from Timpview. Originally committed to BYU. He and his brother Logan both go to Utah now and ends up. They'll both be immediately eligible to play. And then there's Hunter Clegg, who is just a stud. And he, again, could have gone anywhere he wanted to go in the Pac-12, and he chose to stay home. 21 offers.
Yeah.
Hunter Clegg had 21 offers, and he winds up at Utah. I think it's an absolute ridiculous poll. The one question that continues to rear its ugly head, though, is offensive skill positions. You see tackles, you see edges, you see, corners. Dejon Stanley is a guy that is an quote-unquote an athlete. He's another kid that had 11 offers, Colorado, BYU, Michigan, and he chose Utah. Does he wind up as a defensive player for BYU or for Utah, excuse me? I would think so. I don't love that they didn't get a quarterback. Mac Howard is a 3-star quarterback who is almost, in the bottom 1,000. He's like 700 in his ranking of quarterbacks nationally. That is not a great trend.
What else is
for
new?
This program? Well, I think it's a big deal. I mean, obviously what they did at running back, fantastic. I mean, I like Michael Mitchell a lot from Florida. That's a kid, again, Michael Mitchell, that had a lot of opportunity. Really could have gone anywhere that he wanted to go. And he winds up at Utah, and I think that's outstanding. I think that's a really big get for him. I also think that John Randall Jr. out of Wichita was a kid that K-State was chasing hard. And again, 27 offers, including Arkansas, Arizona State, Prime at Colorado. He chose Utah.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. I think this was one of the best recruiting days in the history of Utah football yesterday.
Yeah, they had a good day for sure. Let's see how it pans out. I mean, I think that it's all fine and dandy to have these great linemen and backs and everything, but you got to have a quarterback. I mean, the good teams have quarterbacks, the bad teams don't. And I think Cam Rising was the lowest bar of a quarterback you could have and still have success, in my opinion.
Oh, boy. Am I a Monty fan? I like you, but you're going to start a brawl in this studio, and it's just not necessary. Is it Reese's or Reese's? It's Reese's peanut butter cup, not Reese's.
Yeah, it's Reese's.
It's Reese's.
Yeah.
And yes, a hot dog is a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Dom D says, who do you think they will get? I don't know, but you're going to have to build depth into that. Again, I think Kyle Whittingham understands the transfer portal. I would not be surprised to see him add a veteran quarterback through the portal because I still don't think you know what Cam Rising's doing. And obviously, when you're headed to the Rose Bowl, you're not going to make an announcement.
Like, how does this happen? How does this happen that both quarterbacks drag their feet for a month?
They know what Cam Rising's doing. I don't have any doubt about that. But I think you also have to understand that that's a very difficult decision for a kid, to make that kind of leap. We talk about it all the time on the Monty Show, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. For the best injury attorneys in the business, it's always theadvocates.com. Chat with a lawyer online right now, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at theadvocates.com. I think we talk about this all the time. I mean, there's a reason that Jaron waited for so long. My guess is, and what I was told was, he was waiting for an NFL grade, a draft grade. He got that grade. He committed to the Reese's. I had to. He committed to the Reese's Senior Bowl. That's a big move for him.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Rising, if I'm Cam Rising, I'm coming back because I don't believe that Cam Rising, really necessarily projects to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
And I think if you win the Rose Bowl, that's a different deal. Because there's no reason that Utah shouldn't be contending for a national championship next year.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason. I mean, they should be in the college football playoff conversation. They should be in the Pac-12 championship conversation. They're going to be on par with Oregon and SC. There's no reason that Cam Rising shouldn't come back. I don't think. SA says, letter of intent day has lost its luster since all the players can now transfer freely. It has. It absolutely has. No doubt about it. Kyle J says, Nate Johnson looks legit. He does. He absolutely does. And I think when you look at, this entire class, in my opinion, and the entire day, if we're being honest, the entire day in the state of Utah, I mean, I haven't even mentioned the name Smith Snowden, the corner from Skyridge. Like, I mean, this entire day was just spectacular. I mean, this was a really good day.
Yeah.
For Utah, and a decent day for BYU. Not a spectacular, not certainly the day that Utah had. But I think no doubt, I'll also say I look at Washington. I think Washington's going to be scary good next year. Washington, especially since Penix went back to Washington.
Yeah.
And you add Rashid Williams from the Bay Area, holy cow. I think that kid is going to be ridiculous. 19 offers. The schools who were after him, Arkansas, Arizona State, Arizona, and he winds up at Washington. And by the way, Washington all of a sudden is a recruiting juggernaut. They're they're going to be good.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, we're sitting here saying, oh, well, NIL, transfer portal, we kind of need to even things out a bit at least. And it's like, well, Washington's come up, haven't they? Like, some of these other schools have come up because of NIL. So to me, I don't know. I think you can go up and down these lists all day long, but the truth of the matter is you have to see how all this talent kind of comes together, because I think, you get a Penix back, that's a big deal. If Cam Rising were to come back, that's a big deal. And I think that, again, it comes down to quarterbacks, but this is the magic of Nick Saban and Jimbo and everything. It doesn't matter if their guy comes back or not because they got another guy.
And by the way, I'd also remind you the name to follow in this class for Washington, Landon Hatchett, because he's a guy that every program in the Pac-12 wanted him, including Utah. it came down to Washington, Oregon, and Michigan. He's 6'3", 300 pounds of twisted steel. And he winds up at Washington. I'm telling you, they're going to crush fools. I think they're going to be so much better. I was a little disappointed in Oregon State. I thought Oregon State could have done a little better than they did yesterday. But, at the end of the day, I was also a little surprised, by the way, at how poorly Arizona State did. But they've been booming business in the transfer portal. But,
yeah.
I mean, I was a little surprised by that. Were you guys surprised that Prime didn't do much either? Like, I thought his recruiting class at Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing a lot, though. Like, I think, he didn't have some massive thing, but I also think to the commenter's point, like, he'll keep adding guys because you can transfer whenever now, Like, I think it's just an ongoing thing that he's building there. And I think also we have to talk about the fact that Prime is really good at developing guys, So maybe, he's got guys in that program that he can develop and change.
By the way, Kelsey Howard is the best recruit in the Oklahoma or the Oregon State class. So remember that name, Kelsey Howard. BYU wanted Kelsey Howard, by the way. Yeah. But I love talking about building college football programs. So we'll see. Dom says, do you think Justin Flo to Arizona is a good move? I'm tired of hearing about Arizona. And this is just me. Justin Flo is a good linebacker. I think he's a good linebacker. But I don't understand why do you choose Arizona if you're in the portal? Why do you choose that? Like that's
not
the thing
because you want to win football games.
But that's what I'm trying to figure out. And he's really frustrating to me because that's a kid that could have, he easily, as a 6'2", 225 linebacker from Oregon, come on. Like, it is really frustrating to me that he should have A, been better at Oregon. But B, why are you going to Arizona? I mean, you could easily have gone to SC. You could easily have gone to Utah. Why did you go to Arizona?
Money.
You think?
Yeah. That's how Arizona's going to get guys, right? That's how a low-end program is going to get guys, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Riley O'Brien asked the question on everybody's mind, what conference will Utah be playing in the next few years? Don't let it sleep on you that the NFL Sunday ticket went to YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Because Apple TV wants to get into sports. And I wonder if losing the Sunday ticket brings Apple TV back into the Pac-12 conversation. Because Amazon's not willing to pay the money that the Pac-12 wants. And I don't know that the Pac-12 can survive as a stream league. I don't think it can. Because as we talked about yesterday on the show, I think you need the accidental viewer for Pac-12 football. You need the guy who, you need the AP voter. You need the recruit who was at the Tennessee game and he gets home at like midnight Eastern and flips on ESPN and sees USC and Oregon.
Yeah.
Or sees, more to the point for the future of this conference, by the way, sees a Washington-Oregon game. And it's like, wow, they do play good football. And look at this, it's on ESPN. It's the only game on TV right now. You need the accidental viewer. You need the accidental viewer in the bar. You're not getting that on Amazon.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the accidental viewer on Prime. And I think you're not getting you'll get the accidental viewer on YouTube TV. You're not going to get the accidental viewer on Apple TV. Is a huge mistake for MLS. Huge. And I think it would be a huge mistake for the Pac-12 to become a stream-only league.
Yeah.
I just think that's a huge mistake. I don't know. Boyd Lake says, have you seen the chicks at Arizona? Yeah. It's Tucson, Arizona.
Yep.
They're not. Bro, you want chicks in Arizona, you go to Arizona State. You go to Arizona State. Tim Bruckmiller says, I love my Red Raiders class. Well, the Big 12 was interesting. Because, by the way, if they were in the Big 12 today, and this is probably minutia, but if they were in the Big 12 today, BYU would have finished 10 out of 12. Texas Tech had a big class. Now, also having said that, they were not even in the same league as TCU and Oklahoma. And certainly, did you guys see what Texas did? I mean, Texas, dude.
It's Texas.
I mean, Arch Manning, obviously, I think everybody knew about Arch Manning already. Like, that was a big to-do. I don't know about Cedric Baxter. Well, I think Cedric Baxter was a guy that, man, when you have Alabama and Florida State competing for you and you end up at Texas and you're from Orlando, Florida, Tashard Choice turns out like he can recruit his ass off. That's one of the lead recruiters at Texas. Cedric Baxter, I thought, was a huge win. But if you go down a little bit and you start looking at some of the guys that they pulled at Texas, Tassili Akana from right here in Lehigh, that's a huge pull. That's a huge pull. Because I think, and again, I think most people thought he was going to Oklahoma. But yet he winds up at Texas. And somehow Pete Kwiatkowski does it again. Mm-hmm. Pete Kwiatkowski, defensive coordinator at Texas, who I've known for a while now. Pete Kwiatkowski is very quietly an elite recruiter. The class that Texas put together, if they're in the Big 12 this coming season, and I'm not guaranteeing you that. Texas is the class of that conference. That is by far the most talented roster in that conference. Now, Texas Tech, hey, man, I get it. I think that Isaiah Crawford, good win. No doubt about it. I think that Jordan Sanford rightly should have gone to Oklahoma State. Should have gone to Oklahoma State. Probably should have also looked at Washington. He stayed home and went to Texas Tech. And that's a huge win for them. But I'm telling you, the Big 12 is going to be a handful.
Yeah.
That is quickly with what the bottom half of this conference did in recruiting. Texas Tech, I think there's no reason if they develop talent. K-State didn't exactly have a nothing class either. But I was a little surprised by Baylor. Were you surprised that Baylor only had 2 4-star recruits, no 5s?
Yeah, I mean, again, that's what we're not talking about is these programs can develop these guys. So even if you're a 1-star, there's nothing saying you can't be a 5-star when it's done.
Well, and they also got Keytron Jackson from Arkansas as well. I don't know. I'm in the minutia. I'm in the weeds on recruiting now.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is I think the Pac-12 is in real trouble. I think the Pac-12 is in real trouble.
Yeah.
Because I don't see it. If you wind up as a stream league, kids aren't going to go to that conference.
Nah.
And I don't care how much money Uncle Phil has. If you can't compete for the college football playoff, and to do that, you need to be on national TV a lot. If you can't compete for the national championship, if you can't compete to put kids at the top of the NFL draft, it is going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
For those kids to succeed. Hey, 117 people are here. We've had over 1,000 people watch the show. We need about 60 more likes. So everybody who's here watching right now, please consider banging the like button. We're trying to get to 9,000 by the end of the year. So in the next 9 days, we're trying to get to 9,000. We are currently at 8810. So we've had a good day today. We're at 8810. That means we need 190 new subs by the end of the year.
Yeah.
If we get that, we will take you +1 to the Utah Jazz Cleveland Cavalier game. We'll do it in a black car. We'll take you to the team store. You'll get any item, a jersey or a sweatshirt in the team store. Let's say you're going to get a sweatshirt because you ain't buying nobody's jersey on this team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we need to get that to 9,000 to do that. And generally on the shows where we get 150 likes, we pick up 40, 50 new subs a day. So rock and roll. Let's knock it out. Hit the like button right now while we move to non-sports stories of the day. And we do that with our good friend, Fat Jesus. Fat Jesus.
Right.
Who wants to know what food items you get delivered.
Right.
And I think this is a fascinating story because I don't get food delivery anymore. I think it's too expensive. The fees are too much. And frankly, for my money, and again, this is just my opinion.
Right.
For my money, I'm going to pick up Chipotle. I'm not having it delivered.
Uh-huh.
So, what do you get food delivered still, or what's
Sometimes, like when I get Beto's delivered to us after the show. You
do?
Like, yeah, I mean, that's DoorDash.
Okay. You get Beto. Oh, you do get Beto's delivered here.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
okay.
I don't order pizza anymore. I don't if I'm going to Chipotle, I want to just go and get it.
Okay.
So the most delivered food.
I'm not surprised by this at all.
It's a chicken burrito. Which you say
you are such a douchebag.
Is some terrible thing.
It makes you a simp. And you specifically are a simp because, hey, welcome to Burger King. Can I take your order? Hey, bro, do you have a chicken burrito? No, sir. This is Burger King where we serve Whoppers. Hey, bro, I know you don't have one. Can you make me a chicken burrito? No. Would you like to try our Big Kingfish barbecue slathered in cholesterol? No. I'd like a chicken burrito, please. We don't serve those. Well,
what do you mean?
We could do
This is inaccurate.
We could do a double Whopper Baconator.
Fat.
You're the guy who, no matter where we go, is like, hey, bro, chicken burrito. Hey, I know this is a sushi place, but I'll go ahead and take a chicken burrito.
Fat.
Hey, I know that here at Grease Monkey, you guys do oil changes, but nah, bro, I'll take a chicken burrito.
We really did.
Hey, man, I know that this is Foot Locker and you guys sell Jordans. I'll take a chicken burrito.
Well,
How about that?
That's you.
Number one food item delivered, chicken burrito.
Chicken burrito.
Number two is burgers.
Which makes you a simp.
Okay.
But by the way, I'm never having food delivered because it's so expensive.
It is.
Number two is a burger. Now, I got to tell you, we went to JCW's yesterday and had the double All-American burger. How'd you feel about that
thing?
Yeah, that was so
I
good.
Smashed that thing.
The problem is, at DoorDash, you're paying $50 to have anything delivered.
Yeah.
But number two, people are having cheeseburger delivered.
Yeah.
The number one breakfast item is a bagel sandwich. The top AM order was a sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich with donuts and sausage burritos also making the top three.
Well.
Now, I do love me a sausage burrito.
Big sausage guy, huh?
Yeah, so's your mom. But at night, and this is what I never do because I don't eat really after 4 o'clock, but people get quesadillos delivered. Chicken quesadillas. I know it's quesadillas. Please don't DM me.
Hey man.
Don't DM me.
Don't you know that it's quesadilla?
Don't DM me with, hey, fat ass, it's quesadilla.
Hey, man, didn't you know that it was Gobert and not Gobert?
Yeah, everybody used to be like, hey, everybody'd smash the DMs and be like, oh, you keep saying Bojan Bagsnatchevich. Are you just being a jerk?
It's Boyan, right?
No, I had no idea.
Bojan.
So please don't smash the DMs and tell me, oh, hey, bro, it's quesadilla. I just don't want you to sound like an idiot, which you do anyway.
Hey, guys.
Don't smash the DM to correct quesadillo or fajita. Anyway, the most delivered late night food is quesadillas. Fried chicken sandwiches rank second. Cheeseburgers third. Mozzarella sticks.
Mozzarella.
Hey, who's eating mozzarella sticks?
Dude, I don't know. And first of all, who's eating them? And second of all, who's getting them delivered because they're soggy by the time they get to you?
Followed by cheese pizza.
You fucking donkey.
Now, here's the other one that just blows my mind. When people get food delivered and they order dessert, their number one delivered dessert item is tiramisu.
What are you talking about,
no,
man?
I'm kidding. I'm not a tiramisu guy at all.
Nah.
Tiramisu?
Nope. You want to give me a chocolate lava cake? I'm about that life.
Tiramisu claimed the number one ranking with over 44,000 delivery orders. 44,000 dumbasses in this country had tiramisu delivered. Second place was baklava, which is really good.
Baklava?
Yeah, it's a Greek.
It's a Greek dish.
35,000 orders. Number 3 was cookies, 4 cheesecake, 5 brownies, 6 churros, 7 cannoli. You can't get cannolis delivered.
Fat.
8 is carrot cake, and 9th, chocolate cake. 10 was flan. You can't have flan delivered. Flan does not last. You can't have it delivered. And by the way,
Because
Chubbs,
it's garbage.
who's ordering delivery?
Listen, I'm not chubby. I'm husky.
Look, obeser, Who's ordering flan?
Fat.
If you're ordering flan for delivery, you're fat. If you're ordering flan, you're fat. If you're ordering New York style cheesecake for delivery through Uber Eats Dash Door, you're fat.
Makes me want to puke.
Like that, look, dude, I know that I'm a sex machine with a 27 pack.
Do you even
lift? Dude, if you're having tiramisu, you're either an elitist or you're fat. You can't have that stuff delivered.
Yeah.
You can't. Tiramisu does not deliver well.
Nah.
Dallin says chocolate lava cake from Domino's is the best delivery dessert.
Yes.
Dude, I'll never order Domino's pizza again.
Why would you have Domino's when you have Papa Murphy's?
And that's what I don't understand. Domino's takes like an hour.
Yeah.
By the time by the time you have Domino's delivered, I can order, go pick up and cook my take and bake Papa Murphy's pizza and the cookies. And Domino's still would not have been there. But lava cake sounds really good. SA says, hey, Monty, quesadilla. Why don't you just DM
Gonzaga.
NY Monty fan says, right? NY Monty fan says you can't zog a zag, right, Boyd
Gonzaga.
Lake? Exactly.
Gonzaga.
Boyd Lake says Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
That's what I'm saying. Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Program.
Exactly. SA says Cold Stone delivered. No.
No, dude.
You're
no,
fat.
man.
You're fat. If you're getting Cold Stone delivered, you're fat.
We really did.
You're fat. You know? Greg Hawkins says LMAO ordering leche flan through delivery.
Dude.
You're fat.
Dude.
You're fat. You need Jenny Craig in your life, Chubbs. Like if you're ordering, I'm telling you now, if you are ordering donuts, if you get donuts delivered to the crib, you're fat.
I'm going to do that.
Like get your Rebelsis, bro, because the A1C is out of control.
Get your lazy ass in the gym.
Because you're fat. Get on Rebelsis, bro.
You said Rebelsis.
Get on Rebelsis. Down with Rebelsis. Get on Rebelsis, bro. Because you had donuts delivered. You're fat.
Oh, my word.
You're fat.
I want more.
You're fat.
Dude.
It's that simple. Karen Montemayor says, I deliver Uber Eats and someone ordered condoms, batteries, and an energy drink from 7-Eleven.
Zachy Poo has entered the chat.
Batteries, condoms, batteries, and an energy drink. That's a different kind of
Wonder
fat.
what you're using the batteries for, Slick.
Good Lord. Dallin says food delivery sucks. Have fun spending $25 on Chipotle after delivery and tip. That would be low.
Donkey.
Fat Jesus says, I love tiramisu, and yes, I'm better than everyone.
Well.
But you don't order it to get delivered. Because that would make you fat. Well, you are Fat Jesus.
Yeah.
Karen Montemayor says, this is a goat Uber Eat. Yes, Karen, that's an incredible order. Jeremy Bolton says, I get donuts and sadness delivered to me every Friday because you're fat. You can't have donuts delivered to the crib. You can't do it.
Dilly.
Okay, hey, man, you want to get Jack delivered? Okay, you're still fat, but it's acceptable. You want to get a pizza delivered? I can get down with that. I understand it. You're still fat, but it's acceptable.
Right.
You can't get leche or flan delivered because it's not acceptable and you're just fat. That's all it is. Right?
Oh my God, dude.
That's all it is, you donkey.
Dude, if you're ordering some of this stuff, are you not first team all fat ass?
And you know what happens. Look, Mr. Big Bones, you know what happens. You sit there and you eat that cannoli and you're like, I'm fat. And you eat that pizza and you're like, look how fat I am. And then you're done with the pizza and you're burping it up and you're like, damn, I'm fat and I shouldn't have got donuts delivered because now I got to eat the donuts, which is going to make me fatter. And all of a sudden I'm down with Rebelsis because I'm fat. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Oh my God, dude.
Cody says, you guys had crumble delivered to your house 2 years ago. No,
No.
my realtor delivered it, and then a listener delivered it. I ate it, and I'm fat.
Well.
But it's acceptable because it was given as a gift.
Yes.
It's different.
It's different.
You know. Brent Burnett says, at least get fat with real food that tastes good. Chipotle. But you can't have Chipotle delivered because, one, they're going to screw up the order before they hand it to Jimmy, the delivery driver. And B, that queso is not going to be good when it gets to your crib, dude. That queso is going to be cold, and cold queso sucks worse than flan that's cold.
No, I guess not.
You can't have Cafe Rio delivered. Not because it's unacceptable. It's totally acceptable. Cafe Rio is not something you want delivered because it's going to be cold.
That's every day.
And you paid $50 just in delivery surcharges.
Hope your taco salad was good.
Idiot. Talking with Raphael podcast. How's the baby, Raphael? With all that money wasted on delivery, you can probably hire a nutritionist or chef. Yeah, and you're going to need one because you ordered donuts and you're fat. So save your money and get a nutritionist.
Can you do something for me?
Yeah, I can make you less fat.
21.
You know. Greg Hawkins says, I'm ordering coffee right now at work since all my coworkers are Mormons and we don't have a coffee maker here. That coffee's going to be cold. You and I both know it.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
I'm telling you. You can't tell me Jesus didn't drink coffee. He drinks wine, but he doesn't drink coffee. Let that sink in, Joe.
Facts.
Wait, let me get this right, Jesus de Cristo. You drink wine, you turned water into wine, but you won't drink coffee. Hello? I'm going to hell. It's fine. Greg Hawkins says, considering getting a coffee maker for the office to avoid DoorDash fees. Well, and to get unemployment because they're firing your ass.
I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
Well, let me see here. I work in an office that's LDS. They don't drink coffee. There's a bunch of gold cans of Coke in the refrigerator. Yeah, let me go ahead and get a coffee maker at Target.
God bless.
I'm not going to get lunch, and Jake's going to order me a chicken burrito anyway. So I'm just going to skip lunch. I'm going to go to Target and get a coffee maker for the Mormons.
Well,
sounds like job security to me. Like, what are you thinking? Hello? Justin Salas, who's back in Utah, by the way, my guy.
Notice he changed his picture, too.
And it's a good one. He says, I never understood Uber Eats. Why am I paying double for the food just for the convenience of not having to get off the couch? Well, you don't want to get off the couch because you're fat.
Fat?
And why are you fat? Because you're lazy. You sit on the couch, you order flan, and then you pay double for it, and then you're fat because you didn't get off the couch and you ate flan. It's 10:30. You just got blown out of another game of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, you jerk. And now you're going to bed, and that flan is going right on your thigh.
Damn.
Because you're fat. That's
damn.
Right.
Damn.
That felt good. Coffee is nasty. Not sure how and why people get addicted to it. The problem with coffee is, again, and we've talked about this on the show.
Yeah.
This is the last show of the year, so I'm just letting it all hang out. Not really.
Not new for you, huh?
You know. That's a crime in most states.
Yeah.
The point is, the problem with coffee is you got to be in the club. And I'm not in the club.
Excuse me. It's not the club, it's the club.
Yeah, you got to be up in the club
Yeah.
to get coffee right.
Yeah.
Because you got to order your caramel mate macchiato grande mocha blow me.
Hello, it's a great day at Starbucks. What can I get for you?
Yeah, I want a caramel macchiato. Like, you got to know the language.
I want a venti double shot chai with goat milk and sprinkles.
But the other problem is, if you don't go to Starbucks, what's the other one? The other stupid
Beans and Brew?
No, not even Beans and Brew. The one with the windmill and the little house thing where the teenage hipster works.
Dutch Bros.
Yeah. Oh, hey, welcome to Dutch Bros, brah. And it's like, dude, can I get some coffee? Sure, brah. Hey, hang loose for a minute, dude. I got to hit the vape pen. All right, cool, bro.
One of us passes the fuck
I got to
out.
get that blueberry tart vape juice pounding in my larynx. Now you can order your coffee, brah. Well, yeah, hey, man, can I just get a coffee black? Oh, you mean a caramel chai macchiato with almond butter and goat's milk? No, I just meant a black coffee. Yeah, it's
That's
caramel
cute. I
frappuccino.
remember when I had my first beer.
And stuff. I just want a black cup of coffee, which I don't because I'm not a sadist. That's who drinks. Black coffee's not good. Stop.
And that's how I look at it.
Why don't you drink wine? Jesus drank wine. He didn't drink black coffee. That's why he didn't have an ulcer.
Well,
you know. Greg Hawkins says blaspheming against coffee, not on my watch. Oh, my God. Talking with Raphael says coffee is amazing. NY Monty fan says, wow, Mont, you got hate in your heart. Let it out. Let it out. It's the last show of the year, man.
Don't play intramurals, brother.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
It's a Big 12.
Luis Capasso says, the only good coffee is just black. Christopher Leo says, I love Dutch Bros. Hey, brah. Don't you mean Dutch bra? It's Dutch bra,
Isn't
brah.
it Dutch Brothers?
Hey, can I get some of the sticky icky? Can you got any, bro? Like, that's what you get it. That's the thing with Dutch Bros. Like, they're 19 years old, and like the last time I was
their brand.
The last time I was at a Dutch Bros.
Yeah.
It was like hipster Chucky dude with dreadlocks who smelled like he had just come back from hitting the stanky weed. That's what it was. And like he reeked of weed. Like, hey, dude, how was the Snoop concert? Like he's just, and
Donnie, please.
Call me boss one more time. And I
Donnie,
will.
you're out of your element.
That's it. Hey, boss. Hey, boss, what can I get you here at Dutch Bros?
Drop that motherfucker.
You can call me boss. That's why I don't like, no, I'm not in the coffee club. Anyway. Let's see. Eminem says, Merry Christmas to you guys. Hope Santa brings you the coffee you asked for. Mike Maple says, I'm so happy for Dan Hawkins drops. They're good.
Dude, I got you. I
They're
got
good.
you, bro.
They're so good.
I got you.
Don't play intramurals,
Go play
brother.
intramurals, bruh. Like, what else?
It's Division I football.
Yeah, you know. What else is in the Cool Kids Club? Because definitely ordering coffee is in the Cool Kids Club.
Wearing one ear pod while you're taking a leak and talking on the phone. Yeah, that's in the Cool Kids Club, apparently.
Dude, I walked into the bathroom at Harmon's the other day, I think it was. And there's a dude at the urinal. He's taking a leak with his phone like this. And his pants are down around his ankles. And this is not the first pantsing problem that we've had. I don't need to see your butt, bro.
Yeah, why is it that why has it become acceptable to drop your pants down your ankle at the urinal?
Well, this is an old guy thing. This is not like a 27-year-old hipster dude. This is another old guy holding his phone at the urinal with his pants down, and he's like essentially mooning the world.
Hey, look here, man.
Hey, aren't you worried about splashing in your drawers? Like, I stand sideways at a urinal because I don't want to get pee on my J's.
Yeah, dude.
You're just like full on your pants are down around your ankles.
Yeah, dude.
Like, there should be guy code against that.
Well, there is. That's the thing. He's violating it.
Yeah. NY Monty fan says, is it worse to be called boss or chief? I get both all the time. And Jerk over here laughs at it. Hey, boss.
It's hilarious.
Like, I'll answer the door. Somebody will knock on the door. They'll be like, okay. Hey, boss, I want to talk to you about your solar. Like, there was almost a riot at my front door because a solar guy called me boss over the summer. And
we roll into the tire shop last month. He's like, hey, man, I'm here. I need some tires. Oh, hey, boss. Yeah, we got what you need.
But I said to the solar guy, and I think I told this story on the show. I said to the solar guy, he knocks on the door, and he's solar bro. He's like, hey, boss.
Solar bro.
Yeah, because he was that guy. He's like, hey, boss, here to talk to you about some solar for your house, man.
Right.
And I said to him, do you think I'm going to buy from you after you called me boss? Well, no disrespect, bro. And I was like, what about bro? Like, oh, dear. Oh, my. You're doing door-to-door sales. And boss and bro are in your elevator pitch.
It became personal with me.
Stop it.
It's probably not a good idea.
Fat Jesus says, I only ordered a gift card at Dutch Bros, and the guy at the window was super excited. Getting a gift card, right on, brah. I never went back. Exactly.
See, it's not just us.
Exactly.
That's not what we're about.
Exactly. But I think that's who Dutch Bros is, brah. Like, they're that hipster thing.
That's what they are.
They are. Guy code violation 456. Never drop your pants while peeing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Like, come on, dude.
Thank you.
Jeez.
This one too. Absolutely solace. When someone calls me buddy, it pisses me off, especially when we're doing business. I cannot stand that. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
I'm a man.
And Jake routinely drops buddy bombs on people. People are like, dude, check out buddy over here trying to mow this hill. And it's one of the greatest things ever that we do.
It is. When you troll people by calling them buddy and they don't know you're trolling them. So, like, we'll be, getting on the on-ramp or something. Or we'll be getting on the freeway leaving Park City. It's a 2-lane on-ramp. And, you've got Buddy over here in his Honda Civic that's got a riced-out aircraft carrier wing on the back. And I'll be like, look at Buddy trying here. You going to put this to bed or what?
And you literally are, you'll be like, oh, like the other day when we were snowboarding, you were like, look at Buddy on skis. Like, so you ride the lift up the mountain, right? And so you watch all the people make idiots out of themselves, and you judge them, and you think about how much better of a snowboarder you are.
And kick a person when he's down.
And so homie's doing moguls, which I don't understand. Frankly, again, with somebody that has testosterone in my body, if you're on skis and moguls, I don't get. And especially if you're on a snowboard, go work it. You're the Dutch Bros, bro. Like, don't snowboard anymore. Please give it up forever.
Yes, you did.
Go to your menial remedial job because you're not smart. And so, like, there's a guy on a snowboard on moguls, and Jake's like, oh, look at Buddy over here. So there are certain ways to do that, but don't roll up on me and call me buddy.
But if I'm doing business with you, like I would never have my car detailer guy come out and be like, hey, buddy, thanks for the detail.
Hey, boss. Yeah.
Like, I would never do that to him. It's demeaning as hell.
Let's boss this thing up.
Come on.
Right?
Come on,
I'm
dude.
never doing that.
I'm not doing that, man. That's just disrespectful.
I'm never doing that. I'm never doing that. It's just not going to happen. I'm telling you. Fat Jesus says only Mrs. Monty calls you boss. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Splash on your drawers. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, dude.
It's true. You have to be careful where you point the stream because you rebound.
Me?
Brent says, have you ever been called a fat Karen? No, never. Thanks. We were probably about to do that. Boyd says, bathroom floors are gross. Why people drop their drawers on the floor, I'll never know. Almost as gross as guys not washing before leaving. So disgusting. No, that's a whole different show. Never a big word, Monty. Used to be a day without pantsing people was a thing. Never. Used to be, what did you say? Used to be a day when pantsing people. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Who hasn't pantsed somebody in high school?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was high school when we were eating pizza puffs with mayonnaise because I was fat.
Fat?
Talking with Raphael podcast. NY Monty fan says, Raphael podcast, now that you are a dad, you make sure your boy knows to just dip the front, drop it, and let it rain.
No. Let me read that comment the right way. Now that you are a dad, make sure that Buddy knows how to dip. What is it? Dip
the front, drop it, and let it rain.
Dip the front, drop it, and let it rain. Make sure Buddy knows how to do that.
Oh, yes, it is, Greg Hawkins. Bud is fighting words. Hey, Bud.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Kurt Myers. That's the best thing about my boy going to school in Texas. He now addresses everyone a sir or a ma'am.
Yeah.
Which pisses people off, too.
Yeah, next question.
It does. It absolutely does.
Dude, it's our last show of the year, bro.
San Diego State says, just checking. What were you checking? I don't know what you were checking. Raphael says, I have a girl. Hey, man, we ain't judging nobody.
I never called your kid Buddy. What do you mean?
We ain't judging nobody on this show.
What?
We ain't judging nobody, man. The Monty Show presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The attorneys at the Utah Advocates know if you're injured in an accident and it wasn't your fault, you need an attorney that is always looking out for your best interest. That's why you go to theadvocates.com. You can speak to an attorney at no cost to you. In fact, you don't pay until they win your case. The Utah Advocates will fight for your settlement. You deserve, stand by your side throughout the case, which is what I love about them. The guys at the Advocates, you're not high and dry. They are with you. They're fighting for you. They're fighting right next to you at theadvocates.com. Hook it up at theadvocates.com. So, yeah, this is the last show of the year.
Yeah, dude.
And it's 9:35.
Already.
We've had over 1,000 people watch the show, and we have 101 likes. And, again, remember, we're fighting to get to 9,000 subs.
Yeah.
And if we do that, we will get you +1 to a Jazz game against the Cavs.
Yeah.
One of our listeners will be going. So it is what it is. Any thoughts on the year before we peace out?
I mean, obviously a productive year. Appreciate all the tips and all the funding. That's how we were able to build this studio. So I think it was an awesome year. I think
helped a lot of people at Thanksgiving and Christmas, which we really appreciated you guys doing. Like,
yep.
I say this in all sincerity. even if you order flan and delivery, I would just like you to know how important you are to the show. Like, you guys make the show. We could sit here and do the show and just post links, and we could easily do that. But if you guys don't comment, and if you guys don't build the community we've built, I know several of you that are doing business together now because you met on the show. Like, stuff like that is super cool. Hearing about your nephews going to Cal from San Diego State, love that, dude. Like, being able to share your lives, Raphael having a baby girl, like, it's been a great year of community and camaraderie and growth, and we really appreciate you guys being here. And if you'll smash the like button, that's awesome. But just show up, just be here. That's what's amazing. Fat Jesus wants to know, is there a best of episode?
Yes.
Yes, we will post one for you at 6 o'clock.
It's hard
tomorrow
to,
morning.
it's going to be 4 hours. The show tomorrow that we're going to upload, it's about 4 hours, and it's probably 7 or 8 conversations, a variety of different. We've got some jazz, Pac-12. I have some Mrs. Monty in there. We have some stuff in there. So good show for tomorrow. It is a best of. It is just a put together. But yeah, I think it's funny to see the old set versus the new set.
It is.
It's kind of a throwback. If you're a long time like Fat Jesus, it's kind of a throwback. So that'll come out 6 a.m. tomorrow, normal time. That'll get released, and you guys can have your fun.
It'll be awesome. We're really looking forward to producing shorts. Every day that we're on the trip, we'll be putting up shorts here on YouTube. So make sure. I mean, it's not going to take off my shorts. Anyway, the point is we'll be posting videos in our shorts tab here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Fat Jesus says, you complete us, Monty. You had us at more subs. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Brent Burnett says, hit it like the Hulk. Please do. Let's see. Eminem says, this show makes my day. I can't listen to local sports radio stations and their silly talk and lack of preparation. 2023 is going to be an even better year for the show. Appreciate that, man.
Program.
Thank you. Monty and Jake do a good job keeping it interactive. Thank you. Luis Capazzo says, looking forward to some Jack tomorrow.
Hell yeah, dude.
If
We'll
you're
see
in
you tomorrow,
St. Jeezy,
dude.
we'll be at Jack in the Box tomorrow.
If you are in St. George and you want to meet us, we will be at the Jack in the Box, and I can give you the address if you DM me. We are meeting a couple listeners at the Jack in the Box in St. Jeezy tomorrow. So if you'd like to meet, please DM us. We will tell you the location.
San Diego State says I missed a tip about this. Oh, there it is right there. There it is right there. Rest in peace, former Aztec stud Ronnie Hillman.
Yeah, Ronnie Hillman,
no.
cancer battle.
Did he finally pass away? I heard that he was in hospice.
Sad day, dude.
Oh, that's brutal. Ronnie Hillman was so young, too.
Yeah.
I just remember him. I remember him at with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
That's where I remember him.
Dude.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. We have had a rough run.
Yeah.
To end the year.
Yep.
My God.
Yep.
My God. That's rough. Let's see. Tuned into 1280 The Zone for the first time in years yesterday. You guys blow them out of the water. Thanks for the show. Oh, appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, Justin.
Giggity in the last comment of the year. In the last comment of 2022. Giggity. Apropos that it's going to go to a long time, one of our favorite listeners in Giggity says, hope you guys have a great vacation. Love you, fellas. Appreciate what you do every day. Appreciate you, too, man. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you guys. Everybody that comments on the show, thank you so much. All of our sponsors, obviously, the Advocates, TryDayTrading.com. You want to give us a tip, please go to TryDayTrading.com/Monty and watch the webinar. That really helps our show. It's free. It's no obligation. Go watch the webinar at TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Thanks to the guys at Barbecue Pit Stop. And Logan, Layton, Lehigh, St. George, and of course our good friends in Salt Lake City. Thanks to all the people at Quick Quack Car Wash. They're one of our newest sponsors on the show. Thank you. Our guys, obviously you're going to order all kinds of pizza. So make sure you use the promo code Monty25 at Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Yep.
And this show would not be possible without the good folks at The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com, your best injury attorneys in the business. You don't pay them until they win your case. Talk to a lawyer online at 24/7 at TheAdvocates.com until 2023. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.